good to see you all. So if you are running into NPM issues, don't worry, you're not alone. So we're gonna we're gonna get to that. But my name is Alyssa Nicoll. Welcome to the Beginner UI and Angular Workshop. I have my cohort in crime with me, Kathryn. We only have 3 hours here today, wherever you are from, and I have a lovely doc that I will be sharing. I'm gonna have Cindy plop into the chat. But this is essentially the agenda for today. I probably have more than we can handle, but that's okay. I wanted you to have at least the plan. And so this one, it should be, I think I put it in like view only mode so that people don't like erase things. But I wanted you to be able to have like links, since as we go, there's so many clickable things. And then also maybe even these like little check marks as we go of like, yes, we've done that part, we've gotten to that. So check that out. And then if you have not already, let me go back to the slides. We're going to have a UI challenge today. I know I'm very, I want to make it bigger, thank you. So you can either go to GitHub and clone down, I think I have it on the next one. Yeah, clone down the repo and HTTPS or SSH, either one. And in that doc that I shared with you, I think I've detailed that out. Or you can open it in Stackblitz, fork it on there and edit it in the browser. Might take a second maybe to load the dependencies. I haven't done that one in a while, but please let us know in the chat which way you're going. If you're having issues, what's happening. You will need to use, and I updated the README, npm -- force, because I have some dependencies from this repo that are from ye olden day, and they are now requiring like deprecated dependencies and things like that. So for now, we're just going to npm install with -- force, but in the future, shouldn't need the force flag. So I'm going to check chat. I want to see how you all are doing. I don't see any questions just yet. Go ahead and get started on the install, because the UI challenge today, I'm giving away 3 $50 Amazon gift cards. The first category that you can win in is best custom styles. The next is the best data set. I know that's weird, but I want you to get comfortable with customizing things in the application. This is very low level, very beginner level of Angular, so please don't feel afraid to ask any questions. There are no dumb questions. And then best use of Kendo UI component. So later on in the afternoon or morning, depending on where you are, we will be using some Kendo UI components to kind of speed up our UI creation and UI upgrades. So I'm going to actually go and yes, so I have some Angular basics that I wanted to cover while everyone is doing the install. And so if you have not already, this is the GitHub link for your viewing pleasure. And then if I refresh this page and we scroll down, you'll see that I've added the note about force. So go ahead and git clone. HTTPS, if you're not set up with SSH, is probably going to be your easiest. And I'll make this a bit chunkier. And I just did this in the browser, and you can actually see just to make sure that let's not go that far back. Just to make sure that everything was working as expected. So I created a new folder here, and then I ran that git clone. I use SSH because I'm set up with that on this browser, or excuse me, on this laptop. But if you're not, just HTTPS on that top line. And then I CD'd, or I moved into that directory, and then I ran that npm install command with the force flag. You do get a bunch of warnings. I think, Eric, you were emailing me this morning about the warnings. Yes, I ignore those deprecations. I will have to clean those up later, but you should still be able to, after running that force command, serve it up. Which starts it on your local host, and you should see this lovely compiled successfully message. So let us know if you're having any questions at all. I'm going to pop open the questions chat too. Eric said, what is ng, and out of where do I run it? So ng is the Angular, ng is short for Angular, and it is the CLI command. So if you don't have the CLI, installing the Angular CLI, I probably should have started with that, right? I should definitely put this in the getting started. So npm install -g, which is for global, for everywhere, and then at Angular CLI. So I'll put this in there, and I do this, I'm on a Mac, and so I use terminal, and that's where I would run this command, or did at one point in my life run this command. I think it's called a command prompt on Windows. Yes, let us.
I see another question popped in.
Yes.
Bethel asks, what IDE is recommended to use?
So definitely, I'm popping this in chat so anyone can grab the CLI. I recommend VS Code, this one. So Visual Studio Code for Mac, and I think Visual Studio Code exists. I think so for Windows too.
Yeah, VS Code is on Windows.
Okay, I'm like, this is a thing, and I use that because of the built-in, just like the prompts and things, and because it just is like, especially like when I'm using TypeScript and I have all of the linters and things, I found it to be the easiest. I used to like live and die by Atom, but what are you using, Kathryn? What are you?
I'm still on Atom. I need to move because Atom has at this point been officially depreciated. They are no longer actively maintaining it. I am just a creature of habit. I need to jump over to VS Code. I need to I need to get my life together.
It seems like I was always, because back in the Angular JS days, you could use whatever hip IDE or code editor that you wanted, and it didn't matter, right? As long as it wasn't Notepad. And you could even, whenever Angular first rolled over from JS to Angular in 2.0, you could even roll with, instead of like TypeScript, you could run with things like CoffeeScript, right? Like, or roll your own version.
Oh, there's a blast from the past. I haven't done
right?
CoffeeScript in years.
So I feel like the Angular world has very much gone into this like Microsoft accepted path, right? And I'm not an MVP. I don't speak for the world of Microsoft or .NET, but from the way I see things, I very much I see the relationship between Angular and that community and the .NET community. And so for things like Visual Studio, right? Like, it just makes sense, and it is the easier workflow path, but it doesn't mean you can't. I mean, I still know people who use Vim, so.
Yeah. Those people scare me.
Any more? Are we okay on questions? I
haven't seen any questions. Maybe I'll also say, if you have successsuckly completed your install, and drop a little celebration in chat. Give us a heck yeah, or you know. I don't know. Try to remember if GoToWebinar supports emojis. Can I put an emoji in the chat?
Hang on, let's see.
Maybe give us a hands up emoji.
What's the Rocket? I use Rocket to plop emojis.
Let me.
Did it work? Can you see? I emoted a rocket, or I plopped in a rocket emoji. So let me know if you see it. You do not?
Oh yeah, that worked. I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you drop an emoji. Give us a hands up in the chat if you got everything installed and you're ready to go.
How do I make this go away? I guess I'll just go back into full screen mode. Okay. So we are going to, what's presenter view? Ooh. Can you all see it? I'm wondering.
I can see your whole screen right now.
My whole screen. So you see this and the add notes.
Yes, that's correct. Okay. And your folders and stuff on your desktop.
Oh, that's weird. Oh, I think it's because my my GoToWebinar is hiding that from me, but you don't see that window. That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So we got a hands up from Elise. Good job.
Yeah.
Glad you got it.
So I'm going to go over some basics. If this is too high level for you and you're like, whoa, that was really fast, just try to hang on, because whenever we get to the UI part, I promise there's going to be pieces. Like you don't need to understand all of this in order to level up your UI skills today. But I did want to give some definitions. Specifically, these 6 definitions, and we're very lightly going to cover them. So decorators are the first one. Especially, I tried to pick these 6 because I was like, what is unique to Angular as a framework? What are some things that people might not have heard of, or maybe they heard of but like just have never really defined? So decorators can be used to augment a class, a parameter, a method, or a property. And it's a little function with an @ symbol. This very next thing that we're going to define, a module, is actually an example of a decorator. It can be used or is used to decorate a class. So if you open up our project in your editor of choice, you should see inside of our app module.typescript file on line 18 that we have @ng module. And this is decorating this app module class that we're exporting here. And it's essentially making it a fancy class that does fancy things, but it's not the only decorator that Angular has, and nor do you need to know the word decorator in order to successfully use it. But I just wanted to show you in live form what we're talking about. So modules, yes, is a mechanism to group components, directives, pipes, and services. Let me shout out in the chat if you've tried standalone at all in Angular. For those of you who haven't, like I think in V14, so we're in 15 right now, the last version, you could test it out, and then in 15 it's like fully supported, I think. It's just the ability to basically ship an application without modules, and to have components without modules. And so it's now a thing. But the call that I was on this morning was actually about reaching out to community members and libraries like Kendo UI and talking with them about ways that they can support it with upcoming utils and schematics and beyond. And because until the entire community and ecosystem around Angular supports a modulus build, it's going to be kind of hard for the community, I think, to fully embrace. But it's definitely where it's headed, because the Angular team thought that modules were just too confusing and just kind of not needed cruft. And so, yes, they are on their way out. But in the evergreen style, if you want to continue using modules, you of course will be able to. And I'm pretty sure. Oh yeah, what do you got? What do you got?
Yeah, I got a question from Eric who says, which workplace solution project file do I open in VS Code?
Oh, yeah. So when you, let me show you my Finder. So I have a development folder. And so wherever you were that you cloned down the repo, I made a workshop go live folder, and then I cloned it down inside of there, and it's called Angular Tour of Heroes. So when you go open up your, I guess if you're using Visual Studio, Visual Studio is so weird, and that's the reason why I use Visual Studio Code, because it lets you open up just a folder, like a directory, whereas I think Visual Studio wants an actual solution file.
He is using VS Code, just to be clear. So
okay, so you should be able to. Perfect.
That was the confusion. He says he's used to Visual Studio and using VS Code for the first time, so trying to figure out where to open and what to open.
So, and I think I even have, let me show you this one. I opened mine, this particular one at like workshop start. So as long as you're opening a directory, like a folder that has the project in it, but you could also just open up that specific folder, the Angular Tour of Heroes. So yes, let me know if that answers that. We're going to do, so we talked about modules and how they decorate classes. Directives are the next funky Angular term. There are 3 main types of directives in Angular: a component directive with a template, attribute directives, and structural directives. And we're just going to jump straight to the most commonly used one, components. And I think most people have heard of these. Like, they exist inside and outside of the framework, right? Like web components, or in UI or design terms, you just talk about a component itself. So there is an actual component that decorates a class, and it has templates that you can define, it has styles you can define, and functionality that you can attach to it. But I'm going to give a little mini tour of our application, and then we're going to jump into some styling. But please let me know if you have any questions, if you're stuck on anything. I'm going to plop over to our Visual Studio. So I am serving this locally with ng serve, and that pulls it up at, where are you, local host? I'm sure it was one of these that I'd already had up. So this is the Tour of Heroes. John Papa is an influencer in the Angular and the .NET community, and long time ago, like 6+ years, I should really get a date on that, he created the Tour of Heroes, and it was used and is still seen commonly in the Angular documentation to teach people Angular. It's very simple, or at least I hope it's very simple. And it just has 2 routes, a dashboard route that it starts you off on, and a heroes route that lists out all of the heroes. There are these beautiful cards, I call them. They're not cards in the template, but we will rectify that. A little hero search here, and I think actually if you start, I'm pretty sure it works, and then you can pull up, and when you click on either the card or in the search, it has a details page where you can either modify the hero or just view more information about it. And so I think
I'm gonna hop in. I want to keep interrupting you because I'm keeping an eye on questions so that I can. And I'm going to share the questions out loud just because I feel like normally a lot of people have the same problems. So if I'm reading your question out loud, know that it's because I'm betting other folks are having the same problem. But we have a question that says, when I open the project, the following error appears: cannot find module VS Code or its corresponding typed declarations.
I'm wondering, like, that's an error in Visual Studio Code?
Yes, he says I'm using Visual Studio Code.
But you are able to serve it, like, that's weird. I'm wondering if you need to, let me show you the extensions I have installed. You can ignore that one, .NET. I also have the Angular, the ALS, the Angular Language Service extension installed. I don't have very many. And then Kendo UI, which I find helpful because I use Kendo UI a lot. And then Peacock by John Papa that helps you change the workspace.
Theming though, right?
Yeah. So I think this is really the only one that you may need, but it's weird that it's like giving you. It's really weird that it's giving you an error. There should be a share button. Settings, copy. I don't know if that'll actually, is that a link? Okay.
Another question, when I ran ng-serve, it didn't open anything in a browser. Was it supposed to? Does ng-serve automatically run? I don't remember. Okay.
It does, yeah. No, it does. So when you run, I'm going to clean up this. So I am inside of the folder that I just cloned, and let me show you, I'm going to list out, this is the actual project, right? And I have my .angular folder, I have the JSON, node modules, right? This is where I npm installed. And when I run ng-serve at this level, it will take a hot second, and then it will say compiled successfully, and it should also say the port. So yes, it should. Otherwise, it should tell you an error. Shouldn't hang indefinitely. So it says generating browser application.
Yeah, Eric, if you can let us know what errors you got. He does mention that he got some errors, so drop those errors as well for us, and we can help you troubleshoot.
Yeah, absolutely. So yes, you should see compiled successfully, and then here it says Angular live development server listening on blah blah blah, or it should have an actual error for us to debug for you. I do find it helpful when I run into these things to go to the project and to delete my node modules. So I just right click and delete this folder, whether I'm in Finder or whether I'm in VS Code, wherever you are, and then also delete my package lock. You can also have the command here, because I recently did it, you can also say remove recursively and forcefully, that's that flag right there, node modules and package lock JSON. And then after you remove them, you can rerun npm install. This gets me out of a lot of jams because like to actually remove those. So let me know if that helps. We're going to do a quick tour of our application. So we already talked about our app module, which is going away. I would guess, so V16 is going to be this spring. I would guess probably by V17, you should really start to see a big wave in the community of people just not using modules anymore. But of course they're going to be still sprinkled throughout, and you're going to be dealing with a lot of applications that have like kind of a higgledy-piggledy mix, which is also fine. So we have the dashboard, which let me go ahead and show you the component file. As I mentioned, the component is decorating, it's just decorating a class. And here we have this dashboard component with a constructor where we're injecting the router and the hero service. And then on init, whenever the component initializes, Angular is saying, cool, I'm initializing the component. What do you need me to do? And we're going to say, go ahead and grab the heroes, right? Get the heroes so that we can populate that list. So this is the dashboard component where you see those cards, and it has, like I mentioned in the slides a little bit, a template that it's linking to and styles that it's linking to. And you can see those right here. Some Angular projects group these based on feature. And so they might have even like a dashboard module instead of an app module. And it points to that dashboard module, and maybe it's all like encapsulated in a little folder. I've seen many different types of Angular architectures, but that's our dashboard. We also have the hero detail component, and then the search, which is on the dashboard page. I want to actually show you. So on our dashboard, you see here, you have my hero search. And so this is actually pulling in this search component with the selector of my hero search. And it's just that basic, the H4 that says hero search, and then an input box. And so if you actually go to, let us pull that up. That's right here. That's, if we inspect it, you'll see that is a little child component that's being pulled into my hero search, that's being pulled into my dashboard component. So yes, that is my quick mini tour. I'm gonna see if I can.
Yeah. We have a couple questions in the chat. First, someone asks, sorry, I missed, what was the reason to delete the node modules?
So if you, so that is Alyssa's go-to way of getting out of trouble when either starting fresh or upgrading things, especially around upgrade season, right? Whenever your favorite like packages have upgrades and you need to go ahead and like run, whether it's like npmx and like find those upgrades, or it's like an individual command to npm install that upgraded package. Oftentimes, I don't know why, maybe I'm very special, but I get a ton of errors around upgrading dependencies. But I was just saying that in reference to if you want to try again and start fresh, if you're having errors still in your console, then I would highly recommend deleting those node modules and then deleting that package lock and then trying your npm install -- force again. Because I don't know why, but you could have gotten yourself in a weird pickle, and that's just a way of proving to yourself this is a fresh start. So yes, hopefully that.
And what was the command that you used for that?
Yeah, so remove rm and then -rf. So you have to, for folders that have something in them, you have to be recursive. And I think the force flag is needed. I think for the same reason. We might just need the recursive flag, but I do both to be safe. So Kathryn, do you remember why? I'm like, I at one point learned why I need both of these.
What, RMRF?
Yeah, the RF part for that, because it's like, recursive is like when it has things in it, like delete everything and its children. And then forcefully, I don't remember that one. I don't remember why we need that one.
Like, because it's gonna ask you like, are you sure? You know, and force is a way of just being like, no, I know what I'm doing. Like, trust and believe. So,
oh yeah. I know what I'm doing. You're like winking at your computer. I totally know.
Yeah. And someone has requested that you put that command in the chat. Oh, good, you're already on it. Never mind. You beat me to it.
Yay! Okay.
So,
This is seriously like that, and this one NPX. Let me show you this one. This one is not for today, friends. This one is just for life. This npx command, I take off this filter whenever I just want to, like, just in general, check for updates, check for Angular updates, Angular core updates, check for Kendo UI updates, check for protractor updates, whatever. Like, so I'll plop that in there as well. I could not live without that one. She's amazing. But again, make sure you delete your node modules before you do an install.
One more thing, we have some folks who joined late and would like you to relink the page where you have everything, the hub, your like Dropbox page.
Gosh. Oh, apparently we're still hold, go back over here. I don't want to enter full screen mode. That is so bizarre. There's my browser. I found you. Okay. It shouldn't be that exciting that I found my browser, but it is exciting. Let us find
You have a lot going on right now.
Here is the paper doc, and I'm going to go and like full screen this right now, and we're going to go and like catch up in our paper doc. So we talked about so many things. Then this is actually a link to the slides if you wanted to check that out. I am giving away 3 $50 Amazon gift cards today. So if you want, that's what this QR code is, and this like prize link form. I'll give you till the end of the day, which I realize the end of the day is different because everyone's from all over the world. So we'll just say 24 hours after the workshop is over. I will go through the submissions, and then I will email out the winners their gift cards. So we have either cloned down the repo or gone the Stackblitz route. Has anyone gone the Stackblitz route? If so, like, let me know. Let me know. I haven't done that one in a hot minute, and I'm curious if it's gonna have issues. So please let me know. Intro, right? So we talked about Angular basics. Check out those slides for definitions. And we are now moving into our CSS, our customizing CSS. These 40-minute, 20-minute, these are just Alyssa spitballing for how long I want to spend on that. I think if you like add up all the minutes in this document, I think we're over time. So we'll probably hop and skip over certain things or spend longer on certain things that you're more interested in. But is there anything about our UI, if you've been staring at it, anxiously awaiting, is there anything about our UI that bothers you? That's my question, because that's where we're going to start. Anything at all? Back to this, once we have something to work on cleaning up, we'll clean up some styles, talk about that for a minute, and then we're going to create a new component and continue on our merry way. Is there anything, any suggestions?
Ooh, not yet. We do have one person who wants to know whether we will get a link of is there a recording of this webinar? Or
that's a really good question. I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes.
Yeah, Cindy will probably be the best one to answer that. So Cindy, if you're still hanging out, let us know in the chat if this recording will be shared afterwards. We do have at least one person, Hari, who has gone the Stackblitz route.
So and it's working? What? Oh,
it just says yes, gone Stackblitz route. So I can only assume that yes.
Excellent. Excellent. And that's Eric. If you're still having issues, highly recommend, if you go to the top of this document, you'll see the 2 different routes to get started with all these amazing ponies that I'm sure are very inspirational for you. This link right here, you go to stackblitz.com and you can do this with any GitHub repo, right? That's crazy. As long as you say /GitHub, the username, and then the actual repo name, and it should spin it up. Okay, I can't believe none of you have any suggestions on where to start.
We do have one from Erin who says all of it.
Oh my goodness, are you saying this is not the most sexy website you've ever laid eyes on? Okay, so the thing that bothers me the most when I go here, Kathryn, let's ask Kathryn, let's make her answer. What bothers you the most about this UI?
Well, this is a dangerous question because, as Alyssa knows, I am also a designer. So, but I would say the thing that bothers me is that the cards are what draw my attention first. They're currently the largest thing on the page. They're bright blue. My attention is drawn there without any context. So I just kind of see blocks and names, whereas things like the header for the page and the menu, I don't even gloss right over. So I would say, were I to rework this page, I would make the header, the Tour of Heroes, a little bit bigger. I would maybe add some copy to kind of explain what's happening. And then I would let the cards kind of be a little lower in the visual hierarchy.
I love that. I love it. Let's do it. All right. So this is our dashboard page. I'm going to move her over here, and we're going to find inside of source, inside of app, we're going to open up our I'm actually gonna like
a couple more. Sorry, I switched back over to the questions.
Yeah.
So yeah, Eric, who kind of said, so Stackblitz is the new repo. I think if anyone is having any trouble cloning things down or getting things to work, Stackblitz will have everything already in your browser. So if you're fighting to clone things locally to your machine, maybe try jumping over to Stackblitz just so that you can follow along with the demo.
And I'm actually pulling that up here just to like proof of concept that it works. It kind of looks like Visual Studio Code in your browser. Hey, okay, I'm sorry, but like the multi-menners, the two guys that made this website, like
I could not figure out what you're trying to say. I'm so sorry.
the people. I just like the work that went behind this. Like it gives me goosebumps when I think about. But it's so good. Literally any GitHub repo, people, you just say stackblitz.com/GitHub, the username, and then the repo name. So here, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to fork it, and probably sign in so that you can save your work as you go along and see it rendering. But it's just so exciting. Oh my goodness.
We've got some more UI suggestions as well. While we're
what do you got?
Someone says that the search at the bottom is maybe not the best idea, right? Which kind of makes sense. Searches are usually closer to the top, so maybe bumping the search up. Also, make it dark. So I think some votes for a dark mode.
Make it
Everybody, dark. All developers hate light mode.
Excellent. Oh my gosh. Hang on, I'm gonna make this list for us.
Is a little out of place, probably because it's the only thing that I think that's centered on that page, so it does stand out a little bit. And yeah, if we can repost, I will repost that link to the Stackblitz. Give me just a minute, folks.
Main header larger, cards lower in UI, copy up top.
Search up. Yeah.
What is going on. We also had people say bring search up and search up. Bring search up. What was the other thing you said?
Dark mode.
Dark mode. I love it. I love that dark mode was mentioned because we're going to be doing some variable stuff in a minute, and then I'll be perfect. Was that all? Did we get all that? I think so. Mainly.
One more, which says that the top heroes text felt out of place.
Top heroes.
Says top heroes is out of place with the other components.
Top hero, the main title of the page.
No, where it says top heroes. My guess is because it's centered.
Top heroes. Oh my God. Yeah, because it's centered. This like cracks me up, and like that's really what I thought you would say at first, and I'm like, wow, she's going it, because like the very first thing that I always do when I like start customizing this website is to like freaking stop centering this, because I'm like, oh, it makes sense when if we put it half screen, it makes more sense but also it's still not like, and I like look, the cards like they do things, right? That's but also like
Yeah.
Bombasto running out of room and things like that. Like she needs some love. So it's fine. It's fine. We're going to do it. It's cool. So just to get comfortable, I want you all to open up your, whether you're in Stackblitz or whether you're in VS Code, wherever you're at, open up your dashboard component HTML. Isn't she gorgeous? And your CSS file. Here's how I like to start any project where I'm asked to upgrade the UI.
Sorry, I was laughing because you just deleted everything. Like, yeah. I like to start by just removing. Just
I know this is like not very friendly. My last job though, Kathryn, like I was asked to do some really complex stuff with UI, and I just got to the point where I was like, cool, and I just started massive because it just like the headache of like writing custom styles with the old ones, which I know this isn't always, but also like I didn't see anything change, and I just got rid of how many lines of CSS. So it's fine. It's fine.
But did you?
I did. It hot reloads.
Yeah, oh.
So I think, I don't honestly know. Hang on, we're gonna undo this and show you. So here, oh golly, we have a very specific and fun selector to select any classes with call dash and float it left.
Floats in the year of our Lord 2023.
In the year of our Lord, I don't float anymore.
Never in my life.
A really good friend, I'm actually married to him, who he got so wicked good at floating, and to this day he can still, like, faster than lightning, float stuff and it looks good on all screen sizes. If that's you and you know are very, very comfortable with them, then I say go at it. Rock whatever tool helps you get to the end. But if you are coming into UI, and as Kathryn put it, the year of our Lord 2023, we position differently these days, and so I just wouldn't. Looks like we're selecting everything, which you gotta love. This is also a big red flag. John Papa is amazing, and he did some really, really cool stuff with this demo, but there's some out of date stuff too, and so not knocking on him, but if there's, I guess, for box sizing, border box, that's okay to put on everything. I don't know. Kathryn, do you do this? I only really do this when I need it, but I guess it's good to, I don't know, as a baseline, but also I feel like this belongs globally.
It's interesting. Ed and I were having this discussion about whether CSS reset files are still needed in the year of our Lord 2023. And we were slightly divided in that I think not so much, and we're at the point where like you can just add as needed rather than doing this. I'm looking at this because this to me feels like a very common piece of what would have been included in the CSS reset file. And for those of you that are maybe a little newer, reset files existed back when the discrepancy between browsers was much greater. So you would include a file that kind of neutralized all those differences so that you were working from, you know, kind of a level playing field.
This was my go-to, and like, look at this website. Look at this website. Eric Meyer's reset, and it's very short, but like, oh my gosh, it's beautiful. But it selects all the things basically, but without the asterisk, and then it's resetting them, like Kathryn said, so that you have a even starting field for like all browsers, so you know what you're building up on. Because some browsers give labels different margins, and so then if you add to that or you take away that, you might not get what you're expecting everywhere. But I'm with Kathryn on that. I don't think they're needed anymore, but let us know in the chat. Maybe
Demar's disagrees with us. He's in the chat.
Shut up! Demar's not in my chat.
He says there are still too many user agent styles to not use a reset, even a basic one.
Okay, well,
so
even if you need a reset, here is not the place. So here's what I'm talking about. Let's say you really want to set your box sizing to border box, which I'm all fine and dandy for. It doesn't belong in your dashboard. I would go to styles.css and I would put it in, I'm going to actually clean up this document before I paste. And I put it in here so that all elements on my website behave this way and I like know what to expect. But on this dashboard, I can't believe Chris is here. Hi, Chris. Everyone should say hi.
I'm cracking up.
There's also a lot of things like call -1-4 with 25%. But I'm just going to use different methods of positioning things. So for my dashboard, I'm going to go ahead and delete that. You don't see any, you should see hot reloads. So like as you're changing things, let me show you. You shouldn't have to refresh your page. So top heroes, and we'll say for you, I don't know. As I save, you should see that hot reload. Watch it not hot reload. Am I serving? Am I serving my application? Oh my wordy girdy. I'm not. I'm serving the wrong application. Don't hate me, everyone. Oh my gosh. All right, hang on. This one, close that. So I am working in, this is the problem whenever you like have 5 different versions of your app. Okay, so we are in workshop start. So we're going to CD into, yes, workshop start. Make this real big, Command K, ng serve. So you should get a hot reload if you're actually serving the right application. So give her a second and she'll come up and then I'll show you. But let's actually start moving things around because you said, Kathryn, that you wanted the search to be, or someone wanted the search to be.
Someone. Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
So this
is a good one.
Someone, like, we should put it up in the header, but as you'll notice, top heroes for you, which is this is not, that's where the dashboard ends. So we actually need to go outside of the dashboard and it's being pulled into, let's see, is it app component? Sorry. I have the same reaction whenever I open JSX files. someone chose to inline their template here, and that makes me feel
an attack.
For those of you who are like, what is she talking about? Right here. Someone chose to inline the template, and in Angular you can do that if you want to do that, or you can do the proper thing, and that's to say template URL, right? But no, seriously, some components are like 2 lines of HTML, right? Yeah, it's like literally, it's like, this is our button component and it has button, right? So for things like that, absolutely, get rid of the template URL and go ahead and link. I think this was done not because it makes sense, because this is like more than 1 or 2 lines, but just to, I think, show off, like, you can do it with template, you can do it with template URL, just showing the different ways. And again, like, these things are just personal preference. So that's why you weren't seeing it when I deleted the styles, because I wasn't serving the right ones. Okay, so we're going to go back to our dashboard CSS, and I'm going to undo, save. So here's this, and then this is what I like to do. That should have really been like my big hint whenever like nothing changed. I was like, oh, none of these are doing anything. So we put you over here. The search, do I still have that? Yes, I do. I still have that in my copy paste bar. We're gonna go back up to app component, and she needs to go, let's put you, like, make you a little bit smaller, because I feel like you're just being a little hoggy with our screen space. Thank you so much. Go to you, and I'm thinking like above the header bar, and then I'm thinking we give this like a, oh God, Kathryn, don't make fun of me. Header, I don't know. What do we call it? Like header wrapper of goods, wrapper. Oh God.
There's a header HTML component that,
and we can, I don't think we're using it anywhere else. I don't think. I feel like it would be here if we were.
Keep it semantic.
Okay, header, good. And then we're gonna do something crazy. We're gonna go here and, okay. Sorry.
No, it's crazy because this is also my internal monologue every time I'm coding. I open a new thing, I'm like, whoa. It's very affirming to see that.
Oh God. Like, oh yes, let's, like for instance, do you see how we're overriding our color because we couldn't make up our mind? I don't know, right? Like, it's fine. It's totally fine. I'm gonna leave that there for those of you who want to reference it, although I suppose you have your own copy. But I'm gonna go and select that header that we just created, and I'm gonna say, oh my gosh, display with the flex. There we go. Woof. Okay, so for those of you who have toddlers, we watch Dougie on YouTube, Science with Dougie, and he's this dog and he goes woof woof whenever he's like teaching things. So now it's like me and my son's like thing to like look at each other and be like woof, you know. So if I'm like randomly spasming and woofing at you, it's because we're learning science.
Oh my god. So cute.
Science with Dougie. Okay. Oh god, that looks so good. And we like totally lost our what was it called? They called it this. Should this be inside? Should this be outside? Should it be a div? It's that bar, the blue.
This looks like an HR.
Because I think we should just like give the header a bottom border, or no, because then you have to worry about padding. What do you think?
It could be either a bottom border, or you could use a like an actual divider.
An actual like, her. But does the her go inside the header or after it?
Sorry. It depends.
And is it self-closing?
I think if it's its own divider component, I would leave it outside of it.
Okay. So there's our sexy semantic HR, which is our divider, and it has the class of header bar. I'm not going to change that because I think that's perfectly fine. But I'm going to give it some styles. We're going to bring back some life. This is where I need you, the audience. Back in our document, our agenda document for the day, if you scroll down to a section we are not yet to, but should probably get to shortly, you'll see Stuck for Color Inspiration. So I've got these two websites that I like to go to. The first one's Color Hunt, the second one's Color Hail Pixel. I'm going to full screen this real quick. I would love for you all to go and pick out a palette. So this is like a fun place that you can go to like just find random color palettes, get inspiration. This one's fun too because you can like, oh, and then like once something like hits and you're like, yes, that color, you click and then you kind of like keep clicking to build out your own. I don't know. It's a different way of getting a color inspiration for where you're going. Mm-hmm. So oftentimes though, like, you know, you have to like stick to certain colors, certain brands. And that's where we're going to go to. I'm going to actually speed us up a little bit because I want to talk about variable files. Because at this point, I would be reaching for a variable file because I would have a company brand, like company branding that I need to, whether it's font sizes, whether it's like colors that I would need to reach for often. And I would want those in variables that I could reach for. So this is a...
Before you move on too far, we did have a request for you to share that site in the chat. the color picker site.
Oh, yes. Let me share this with you. Where is chat? Why does chat not love me? There you are. Okay, so that one, and then you scroll down to the variables, and right here, there's these two, Color Hunt and Hail Pixel. So find them here. This is the actual section. But yes, shout out if you found like a, you know, a template, I'm not, color palette, good Lord. Woo! All right. So what I'm going to do is I think this one. Yes, I have a variables file. And I don't know. I need chat to tell me. Can we do a poll? Oh my gosh, is Cindy still around? Do you know how to do a poll, Kathryn?
I think I can probably do. Well, I think we have to load the polls in beforehand.
Oh, do we? What kind of nonsense crockery is that? Okay. Yes.
Cindy says yes. I don't know if we can do a poll, or yes, we should have gotten our polls together.
Oh, okay, yeah. If you can do a poll, Cindy, will you do one for should we cover CSS or SASS? Should we cover SASS or not? Because I'm kind of on the fence, and Kathryn, this is a really good conversation that we can have. So let me preface this with this is a variables file, and usually I introduce this slower, but we are on a crunch today, and I want you all to get as much as you can out of this workshop. So back in the day, similar to, oh my gosh, like there's so many things that are no longer needed because the language itself has upgraded and it's beefier and more robust. Back in the day, SASS, and I have SCSS, but SASS was needed to accentuate CSS, to add on little features. For instance, these are variables. So I do sizing variables, and in the resources section of that doc that I just linked in the chat, you can find out why I chose animals. It's a really good article in there for sizes. So for instance, for my header, I might reach for hog because I need a big chunky, right, header. But for my copy text, I might reach for beetle, right, for smaller text. Good, Alyssa, cover SASS, yay.
We do have a couple of folks in the chat that are saying yes.
yes to cover it. All right.
Yes to cover it.
Put
your vote in the official poll. Also, I gotta say, those are the most unhinged variable names I've ever seen.
What?
Hog and beetle?
Okay. So because Kathryn does not know about this, we're gonna quickly scroll together to the resources that I promised were down here. You didn't believe me.
I don't think people can see your screen while the poll is happening.
Oh my wordy-gurdy. Well, quickly vote. Chip chop.
We are currently at 75% saying yay on covering SASS.
Wow, we're up to covering SASS, boys.
We're up to 80%. So yeah, we're gonna cover SASS.
Excellent. But Kathryn, hot take, is SASS needed? And also Damaris would like to hear your hot takes.
Damaris is enthusiastically endorsing SASS in the chat.
Okay.
But I would say it really depends on the complexity of your project. Which is such a hedge answer, and I say that for everything. But SASS is great. CSS has also come a really long way. So if you're primarily using SASS for variables, I would say maybe you don't need it. However, SASS does offer some really excellent things like mix-ins that vanilla CSS hasn't quite caught up with yet. So,
yeah. And I'm very curious how much, because I feel like there's something recently with CSS. What was it? There was a feature, and it felt like to me the death toll of SASS, and I kind of mourned for a hot second because
layers, it was maybe.
Yeah. It was the turning point where I was like being able to the nesting too. Because I was like, we are getting to a point where CSS doesn't have everything, and there's so much more to SASS that I love, but it has enough to not justify needing it. And so I think
that's
seriously,
where I'm at.
Going
if I'm
forward,
doing a small
I don't
project,
think I'll use it. Yeah,
it's like my personal website and stuff. Yeah. I don't use it, right? Yeah. But if I was doing a big full application, I'd probably still reach for SASS. It has enough little perks that it's valuable in something big. But if you're just throwing together a couple of pages, I don't know that I'd bother.
I would love to hear if anyone in the chat has other thoughts, because I'm very much aligning with Kathryn on that. I feel like its time in the sun is ending, similar to modules in Angular. So, all right, similar to RxJS. What? She went there. No, I'm kidding. RxJS isn't going anywhere. Don't worry. Okay, we're copying this variables file. It is SCSS, but you could easily, I go back and forth. Since 75% of you wanted to do sassy tittlebits, we will be doing sassies, but I would personally, from this point on, because it was actually from the original time of me creating this workshop to now was when CSS got enough features where I was like, it's not needed. So that's why I used to very much tout SASS and teach SASS. But I think at this point, I would just be like, just go CSS, man. So here is a variables.css SCSS file. And yes, I do have funky sizing variables. I read this article, and the very bottom of that doc I shared in the chat. It's on CSS Tricks. If you are here today and you're like, I really need to just do more with UI. I need to know how to CSS better and how to be more semantic and how to this website is an amazing, amazing resource.
Yes.
They teach so many areas. I don't know if there's anything in the UI world they don't cover, quite honestly, but there is this article by Martin called The Dilemma of Naming Font Size Variables. I took it a step further and I use those variables all over the place for sizings and paddings and margins and things. But essentially he goes on to talk about how things like, and I'll zoom in, small, medium, and large as variable names aren't robust enough, because what if you need a size between small and medium? You've got medium, right? So
Right.
then he goes on to talk about things like doing things like, and this does happen, right? Like we're like, okay, the form label, it's the only thing on our website that's ever going to need to be 2 pixels bigger than small, right? And so he actually comes, walks through his whole thing and needing a better system, and how the best one, he like at one point suggested like fruits or sports, which I personally don't find appealing. And so that's when I was like, animals, huzzah, because I don't know sports ball very well, and I might not even know fruits very well, but I can, I know how big a dog is, right? At least you think, because then you're like Chihuahua or, a Dachshund versus, anyways. So I did choose animals. Check out that article if you're curious. I really do think it's a very interesting way, not just for like funsies, but an interesting way of solving this problem. Kathryn, do you have a different like growing mechanism for variable sizes?
I don't know. I'm kind of getting on board with the animals now that you've put it that way. My concern with them at first was just that felt unintuitive, and that if I were to like skim through this file and I hadn't read that article, then I would be super confused as to what moose referred to.
Obviously, our header is of size moose, right? No, yeah,
Moose,
I get. Yeah.
But I mean, famously, naming is one of the hardest problems in computer science, right?
Yeah.
So like, I'm not here to throw any stones at anyone who's figured out a naming system that works for them.
So we did not do our cleanup fully yet, but this is going to be on you too. I actually made the list here, right, of things that like are goals for the day. So if we get to these goals, amazing. If not, maybe that's something you work on for the challenge to win a gift card. But we're going to move on to our SASS versus CSS, and how to include it in your Angular applications. So in this document, when you want to create a new Angular project, you can ng new, you say the project name, and then you use the style flag. I use SCSS, but you can also use SASS. I use SCSS because I don't think I will ever give up my like curly braces and my like semicolons and things like that. But if you wanted to see this in SASS, it would literally be like this, and it's based on the tabbing, like because this is like tabbed under this, that it belongs to that. And some people, isn't it?
I thought SCSS was just the SASS file type. I feel like I'm maybe missing something here.
Yeah, so like SCSS is the SASS file type, but it means it syntactically it's different from versus SASS. Let me show you, because the last I used it, what are the differences? The syntax constraints. So for SASS, no semicolons, and it has a lot of white space because you're using white space to denote. And then I think it also has no curly braces. But you're saying, what were you saying?
I learned something today. I do.
What you thought they were like exactly the same, or?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, okay.
I feel silly now.
So this is what like your Sassy files would look like, but I personally like it just hurts my head. I like to have these, and so I also think that SCSS files are more friendly to your team if they're not used to SASS. But it has all of the same variables, the same mixins, the same power that SASS has. It's just syntactically different. So this is how you can say style SCSS or style SASS if you want to get crazy with it.
Someone in the chat also had the same misunderstanding as me, so I'm feeling very validated. Thank you, Daniel.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, well, I used to work in Rails projects all the time, like Ruby on Rails with Angular, with SASS, with Haml, and like that was the stack. And so I just like I had to grow used to looking at it like that, but like I missed the syntax. But so you all just thought they were the same thing, just different file extensions, basically?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. I mean, like, with an Adobe Illustrator file, it can be an AI file, or you can export it as an EPS file, or it can be a, you know, that's just like
Yeah.
itch, you know.
For this next part, if you want to follow along and use SASS, it is not a requirement. But ngconfig and then schematics, blah, blah, blah. This amazing line in your terminal, it's very funny, is going to change one line in your app, which yes, you can just go change that one line in your app if you'd prefer. Actually, outside, here it is. So it changes, full screen it, make it bigger. Where is it? Where's the change? This is why I use the schematic, because I don't like to, line 127 of your Angular JSON. It changes style from CSS to SCSS. Now, another reason why I like SASS, like SCSS, is because all valid CSS is valid SCSS. So all you need to do to turn your project sassy is enable this in your Angular JSON and then change the file names. You don't have to use any of it to actually be doing SASS, if that makes sense. So, but you can also mix and match. So here on our variables, where's my variables? She should no longer be, yeah, she's not erroring. The thing you do want to watch out for, though, like let's say in our dashboard, because that's where I think we're going to be working a lot today. I'm going to go ahead and show how we're going to rename it. And like I said, just rename the extension to SCSS, but you will receive an error because the app is, we're going to serve it up so you can see that error. The app is looking for the CSS file. So all you have to do is tell it, instead of styles dashboard component CSS, make sure that you're pointing to an SCSS file. But because in the Angular JSON, we've prepped the app to prepare yourself for SASS, it should be good to go. So we're compiled successfully. Let's do something sassy. So in here, again,
Love
because
to be sassy.
I know, right? That's one of my favorite things to do, because we are under such a time crunch. Usually I would like build this out with you and be very patient. We're just going to grab our dashboard styles here. So we're importing our variables.scss, and that is the variables file that I just made. If you would like this, I'm going to go ahead and go into our shared document. And in this section of bringing in SASS, underneath the color inspo, I'm going to type it in, and that's just my variables file. So you can create a new variables folder, or excuse me, file, and I put that in, where did I put it? I put it inside of app, I believe. Yes, I just put it right inside
when you're
of
doing
app.
this, right,
Yeah.
the idea is that you're creating like a global variables file. And so then anytime you're writing your CSS at like a component level, you can still use those variables, right?
Yeah. Yep. So
That's
you can
super
use
cool.
those company colors, those company sizes, and even those mix-ins for things like dark mode that hopefully we have time to talk a bit about. But so at this point, we have included SASS into our existing project. And of course, if you want to start a new project, that's how you would do it. If you want to include it into an existing project, change that one line in the Angular JSON. We've created a variables file. You can, because I know one of the challenge items was, we'll pull it back up, best custom styles. So if you want to pull in your own theme set, like your own colors from the color inspo site, I would recommend just grabbing one of these. When you click on it, it gives you the hex, and just making your own colors that you'll start using throughout the app. Or maybe you have company styles that you're like, I want to play around with those. They're fun. I want to show you that it's actually working. So we're going to go here and put this over here, and let's start to use some of these. Something that I like to do when I'm either like on stage or doing this workshop, and of course it's like not at all needed, but I like to plop them here because we're importing them, but like you're like, what variables do I have? So let's go ahead and give this a color. Oh, actually, I think if I delete, it should auto color. And then if I say $, oh, for heaven's sake, $, I thought it would. I thought it would. I've had it before. I wonder if it's because they're not in the same. Yeah, I'm wondering if it's because they're not in the same file, because I've had it do it before where it was like, yes, there
you go. Yeah.
But maybe I need like a SASS extension or something. You all saw my extensions in the beginning. They're very bare bones. So, all right, let's use the purple or the pink, purple. And I think mouse should be.
I feel like for an H1, that should be moose.
I think so. I think so too. But I want to. Where is my variables? There you are. I'm going to copy these two. I'm going to copy all of this, and then we're going to go over here because I think I want to show it being like really small. Beetle. Because I don't know. Am I still serving? I don't see the changes. Hang on. Let me think. Think. Wait. The H1 here. Do we have an H1? We don't have an H1.
Oh, no.
No. Okay. It's fine. It's totally fine. I'm styling something that doesn't exist. It's totally fine. This was actually something that really bothered me too, was the headers, because if we go to our app module here, not app module, excuse me, app component, we do have an H1. So if we want to style that, we need to move into our app component CSS. But let me go ahead and actually I'm going to copy all this. We're going to move over here. Oh, right. We had started. I'm going to just delete that. I know I said I'd keep it around.
It's not needed.
Good to know. You need to put your imports at the top. I don't know if you need to. You should.
I think you do, actually.
Like, will it error if you don't? And it'll be like, I hate you forever. Please stop doing that.
Yeah, I don't know. I have yet to have had my terminal tell me it hates me forever. But
oh, well, just wait.
Yeah, honestly, it does feel like just a matter of time.
This because we have not made this a SASS file. So it's like, what is this syntax? It means nothing to me. So we need to rename it, make it sassy. And then, of course, this is the error I wanted you all to see. I can't resolve it. You see, I'm looking for app component CSS, but it doesn't exist, right? So
I love that you get British when you're stressed. It's so cute.
It doesn't mean if you're British and you're watching this that you stress me out. That's not what it means.
I looked it up also. I was curious about the import thing. It will not error out, but it will be ignored, which is actually pretty true for like everything in CSS, right? So if you have an error, it doesn't throw an error the way like JavaScript throws an error, which is one of the many complaints that people have about CSS. It just won't render the way that you thought it would.
Okay. Okay. Hang on. So I should be seeing the font size of Beetle, and I'm not seeing it. Oh, wait. I didn't see it.
Here it is.
You got to save the file if you want to see the changes.
What?
It's fine. It's totally fine. And we're going to give him one of our colors too. Maybe pink. I don't know. I'm just going to wait. The HR, can you color the HR, or does it need, do you have any control? Do we have any, is it all an illusion?
I feel like it gets a border color.
Okay, let's try.
This is what you're really testing. This is testing my. Yeah, no, I was right.
Hey, look at,
I was like,
for the win.
I feel so validated right now in my obscure CSS knowledge.
You're the winner. Oh my god. All right, let's inspect our header, because I'm sure most of you are like, what are you doing, Alyssa? What are you? Okay, so header. This is a place where Alyssa goes often. It's called DevTools. And I open it by inspecting an element. Sorry, I'm taking it way back to the basics. If this is too slow for you, I apologize. Just want it to be as beginner friendly as possible. So I inspect it, and then I find the header element, and then I look at my styles that should be perfect, but they're not.
Just to make it as beginner friendly as possible. How did you open DevTools?
So I did Command-Option-I, which is the shortcut. But one can also right-click on the element of choice and traverse the DOM from there. I'm in Chrome, but I think all browsers have DevTools. Watch not all browsers having DevTools. I'm pretty sure.
No, they do.
Okay. Right, Kathryn? They all have it? Okay.
Yes, they all have
so
it.
right now we have a flex row, but it's all bunched together on the left, and I want to give it space in the middle, and it's been a hot second. So I think, do I justify content or align items? Is it align? I think it's align. I don't remember, so we're just going to try both. Align items, no, because I want the space in the middle.
You want justify.
Sorry,
okay. I wasn't sure what you were doing first.
Justify content, and then we want to say, hang on, flex starts what it's currently doing.
What do you want it to do?
I want the space in between them. I'm trying to remember how to do that.
You want space evenly, I believe.
Is that? Oh, thank you. Ooh, look, we also have space. Yes. You like evenly better? I was going to go between.
No, you told me you were trying to space them evenly. So I said,
don't listen to me. I'm a nut. Okay. So we want
I want them spaced evenly.
Obviously. Jeez, Kathryn. Justify content, space evenly, which I'm going to do space between, and then we need and then moose. We don't want beetle. We're going to get chunky with it. And then I don't know what this is doing, and I don't like it, but we have to go into where are we going? Anyone? We're into the search. We're going into the search component. We can't modify. I was going to talk about view encapsulation at some point today, but we cannot modify my hero search component from this CSS, right? We have to go to its CSS, because Angular puts, let me show you these sexy little things that Angular does. We're going to go to my hero search, which is right here. This is the HTML, and this is the CSS. Whenever you create a new component in Angular, like my hero search, it does this thing called view encapsulation.
Step away for like 5 minutes and I'll be right back. Okay.
Thank you, love. Thank you. It has this thing called view encapsulation, and it's on by default, but you can turn it off. I don't know why it's yelling at me. I think it's maybe a capital. View encapsulation dot, hang on. Encapsulation, view encapsulation dot none. There it is. I thought it was so weird. It was like not letting me select. Okay. So this is how you disable view encapsulation. What view encapsulation does is it gives all of our components these nice little safe bubbles to live within. And I personally don't just love view encapsulation because it doesn't allow CSS to cascade as it normally would, because you're making these encapsulated bubbles where you can do, what I believe is that view encapsulation allows developers to fall into a lazy trap and write CSS carelessly because it's not going anywhere outside of that component. So they can do whatever they want. So some people really like the safety of that. Other people who've been working with CSS for a really long time, they anticipate the cascade and the effect, like that this will affect other components that are inside of it. So you can turn it off if you don't love it. This is a hot take though. So turning it off is a hot take. I mean, if you are starting in Angular and you want to fit into the Angular crowd, I would recommend just leaving it encapsulated. But I want to show you how it does that. So my hero search component here, notice the difference when we disable view encapsulation. And then if I just like take off this line, save it, and go back, you'll see that right now we have two different ng host selectors here. And anywhere that there's like this little ng host like directive attribute tidbit thing, anywhere that is that chunk of the DOM being encapsulated. And so for each of these components, that is happening. But I wanted to talk about that because you will, if you go down the UI road long enough, you will reach a point whether it's because of a component library that you're utilizing and you have to do something special, whether it's because you're like, I'm expecting these styles from the parent, why aren't they there, right? And so I just throw this out there because in the past, I've had to disable view encapsulation, which is the default. I've had to disable it in order to get around it. So my sister is texting me. She thinks her child is broken. Don't we all? Where's do not disturb? I love you, sister. Okay. So let's get back to it. What we want is you can leave this stacked. I think maybe we should put it next to it, put the label next to it, and maybe make hero search a little sexier. And then we're gonna chug a lug on. Oh, I don't need to leave view encapsulation off, but I think we might reach something someday soon where we need to disable it. So hero search component, we want to use the variables file, and in order to use our variables, because we went that sassy route, we need to rename it. And so we're going to say rename, make you SCSS, and then don't forget, you have to tell it, look, I changed the file, right? It's now SCSS. So we're going to go into here, and I always screw up this import. So I just copy it everywhere because sometimes, depending on where your variables file is, you need like a different path to it. And I think there's also like relative linking and like full path linking that you can do. And I've fallen into the trap of like spending too much time on it. So it's just, I put the variables file for this application inside of app right next to our components. So we don't have to like mess with finding it. Hero search back here, up, plop. Okay, and I don't know, we've got a lot of, why are we doing that? This is going to be my best way. And then we are also going to make this flexy and sexy. So does this markup have a wrapper? So it's got the search, the search component wrapper itself. I'm so glad we get to talk about this. So hang on, I don't know why it's doing, hold. I think perhaps this person didn't want to use the host selector. So they made this wrapper here for hero search HTML. So this wrapper I don't think is needed because, let me show you, we're going to delete it and we're going to, don't panic, and we're going to shift over. I don't know, everyone's in the chat going, why? So if we go to inspect our search now, our hero search, you'll see that it already has a wrapper that was doing the same thing as that div, but it's not super intuitive how to access that wrapper, how to style that wrapper. Because what we want to do is we want this My Hero search component to be sexy and flexy, just like the header that it's inside of. So we can go to here now, and we can use the host selector to go ahead and talk to the wrapping parent. Again, it's the wrapping parent that's not visible in our HTML file because it's being generated by Angular whenever it spins up this component, and it's going to name it what? The selector, My Hero Search. So let's go into this and say, and see if we can do what I think we can do. Display flex. I'm actually flex row. I think it's flex row by default. I don't think I have to say that. Justify space. I don't know if I want to do that. We're just going to make it a row. Okay. So now it's the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, and everyone is really, really happy with it. But you see that we are selecting this search component, and we are giving it display flex styles. It's being as tall as its parent, which is like what everybody wants. So I either give it a defined height, or maybe I'm wondering if I tell it to like align on the bottom. Hang on, let's try align items baseline. Look at that, no height needed.
Looking good.
Should it be baseline? Hang on. Should it be flex end? Oh.
No, I say baseline will align all of the items along the baseline of the things in that.
We want to give this, she needs, who is she? Why is everything in H4 in this application? I think this should be a label, just saying. So let's go back. Yeah, are you with me on that?
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Why isn't it a label? We can style labels to look like H4s. We can do that. We don't want to do that, but we can do that. So, I don't know. Okay, so label, and then it needs a matching 4. I always get those backwards. Like, do you need the ID or the 4? Which one do you need? Search
the label
box.
gets the 4.
I'm gonna do it. I'm just changing it to search because easiness. And then this right here is a little variable, an inline template variable that's saying,
fancy.
hey, give me your goods. I'm gonna shove it in this variable, and then I'm gonna do what I want with this variable, right? So that's
I'm not sure I followed what it's doing.
Okay, so there's an input here, and we gave it the search box variable. So we can actually grab the value of this input, and it has a name now.
I see. So
and then we're passing it to this key up function, and we're grabbing the value out of it here, and but we're grabbing the value in an angular way, right? So that's much better, but we still need a little bit of breathing room. And also, why is it so high up? We will fix that. So sometimes when I'm like debugging things, I like to just like test out my theories in line and then move over to the because like the hot reload sometimes is too slow, and I'm very impatient. So we're gonna inspect hero search, give her a little bit of margin right. Of Beetle is too big. One fun thing we can do, not here, but in the style sheet, you could say like Beetle divided by 2. Do I recommend that?
No.
I mean, it's like you probably should just make a new variable for half of a beetle, which is like a spider or something. Probably, but you can, if we go to our variables file, you can get fancy with it and be like, I want to stop defining these, and this should just be beetle divided by 2. Oh wait, it's all angry. I think I have to. Do I have to do the var thing? Hang on.
Well,
no, that's
I think it's because you.
Oh, it's beetle's not defined yet.
Beetle at that point.
Beetle's not defined. It goes from the top and then it reads down.
Cascading, baby.
So it didn't know who Beetle was. Okay, so we do have spider now, which you're all like, thank you for that. Yes. We're in the search. What were you doing? Oh, right. We were giving the label, which used to be an H4.
Just a smidgen of margin, right? I believe.
Right. Yes. And we also want to see it auto-completed it there, and I didn't have them pasted in. I don't know, but you all witnessed it with your own eyeballs. So that's much better, but I also want it to be header. I think what needs to happen is the header needs to have a line item.
Flex, you'll want to,
of flex end, or no, baseline. I
would go center. I think a baseline. I was going to say center, but I think either will work.
Let's try it.
It depends on whether that's a very subtle change.
I don't know. Like, I need the chat right now to decide this UI conundrum. Do you align things to the center or to the baseline for this exact scenario? Like
this exact scenario, I would align to the center because I think that's what helps them feel visually like weighted correctly.
You'll have to let me know what chat says because I'm like anxiously awaiting. Okay,
I'm gonna do it that way.
I just need to know. Okay, color. We didn't make that process, so we actually need to go to the header, which is in here, and delete these because that was just for reference, and say Nope. Where am I
What are you
styling
trying to
header? Who has header? Is that in the dashboard? Let's check. No, that's an app component. Yes.
There it is.
Yes, it is. Huzzah. Okay. So delete these again because they were just for reference.
Just so you know, Daniel agrees with me and he also said center. So.
Oh, okay. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
We have a definitive answer and I never need to question it ever again. Center. And I want to give you the orange color on hero search. Anyways, we need to move on. I need to stop making things so gosh darn beautiful. You're all like winky face.
It is looking lovely.
Let's get I think I have from here. We're gonna fast forward a little bit more. I think I have some styles for our where perchance do our anchors live? And please tell me that they are actually anchors. They are with router link, which is a very Angular way of saying this is where you're going, and to be active when you're active. I know it's all very complicated. Well, yes, so you're in the app component. So I want to go and see on my old project if I have some sexy styles. So we're just going to go and grab all of them, come back over because I'm sure they're all perfect and exactly what we want. Go under here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take our styles that we just wrote and I'm going to put them at the very bottom. So they override any conflicting things so that you don't feel scared whenever the orange color is gone, right? Okay, so we have styled, we fast forward a little bit, we gave our nav a display flex with a gap of mouse. Our nav anchors now have, you're welcome. Just imagine a little mouse in between there going squeaky, squeaky, squeak, right? It's perfect.
So cute.
Here you can see some more power of SASS where I am nesting with this ampersand. He means the thing I am inside of. And the thing I am inside of is nav anchor. So when the anchor that is inside the nav has hover, go ahead and give these styles. And when the anchor inside of the nav has a router link active class, go ahead and do this to the color background, right? A little bit more header bar styles and then our default things. So if we go here, it's looking amazing and not at all like a clown. I do feel like the default margin on this H1 might just kill me. I don't know. I'm assuming the browser is doing that.
That is the default. It's just.
Do you like it? Is it too much? Are you happy with it?
I would tighten it up just a smidge.
Okay. Okay. And also, I'd probably move these up into our header too, just to make sense. Oh, what was he doing? Margin on. I think it's going to be
the H1
here in the H. Yes. So I'm just going to use mouse. If that stresses you out, you can say 12 pixels. I don't use M's anymore. That's probably a hot take.
That is a hot take.
Don't
we'll discuss that later.
Don't use REMs. Well, yeah, we should. We should have over beers, you, me, and Demars. Should discuss why M's are no longer needed. Okay. Let's move our anchors real quick. Actually, we need to check on time. So we're at the halfway point through our workshop. So we definitely probably should give a bathroom break and we should check our schedule. We've talked about including SASS. We've done a lot of custom styles. Oh, we didn't talk about the difference between that and custom properties. So I shall do that right after the break. And then we'll probably just chug a lug into cleaning up those cards, but we're going to use a UI library to clean them up. So are there any like burning questions before we take a break?
I'm keeping an eye on the chat, but there's always like a little bit of a lag in like getting those in. So maybe throw your questions in the chat, and as soon as we get back from break, we will answer all of them.
I wanted to teach, I think I am screen share, yes. Next, we shall talk about custom properties.
We had one question that got put into the chat while we were on break. So Eric asks, is there a list of steps to convert the Stackblitz files to SASS and add that variables file that you did?
Yeah,
so
absolutely. Let's do it. We're going to go to, for you Stackblitzy folks, I think there is a way to use the schematic, but I wouldn't recommend that because it is just one line of code. So in Stackblitz, open up your Angular JSON and scroll down to line 127 and add an S here. Save that file, and then go into your app and any component style sheet that you want to use SASS, rename it, but then don't forget in the component file itself, change where that URL is pointing and make sure it matches. And then at that point, you should be able to go into here and let's do something sassy to prove that we are being sassy. A variable of pink, hot pink, which honestly, I really want to talk to the person who chose that for hot pink because it's just
not terribly hot pink, is it?
What? I mean, yeah, like oh god,
it's like a Barbie pink. It's middle of the road.
It's we need to talk. It's just oh wait, pink. So then we use the variable pink. Perfect. Now you have pink, and you're using SASS in your project. So step number 1: open up your Angular JSON and change the pointer here to SCSS on styles. And then step number 2, rename said style sheet file. Step number 3, make sure it matches in the component itself. Let's show off also the difference. We're just going to stay here for a second. So if we were doing this without SASS, and we were like, my boss doesn't want me to use it, or Alyssa said don't use it, so I'm just going to go all in. There is something in CSS called custom properties. Why they're not called variables, I don't know, because things are properties in CSS and not variables. Do you know?
I feel like I heard that they were not called variables because SASS was already calling them variables. And it was an attempt to not like cross wires with SASS.
Yeah, no, I mean, this makes sense, but it's also frustrating because like the thing that we're replacing already took the good name, so we can't use it.
Yeah.
Like, so if we wanted to do this without SASS, I'm gonna go ahead and revert this. Oh, I gotta do it. I gotta do it over here. We're gonna revert it back to CSS, and actually, yeah, we'll revert it back to CSS. Change where it's linking to. And then here, instead of $, we're going to comment this out. And this, of course, could be in a variables file of some sort or a global style sheet of some sort, but we're just doing it inline for the purposes of demoing. So instead of $pink, you would say -- the name of your custom property that's not a variable, and set it to hot pink. If that was the end of it, Alyssa would have long ago left SASS, right? But that's not the end of it. Now for the painful part, and am I forgetting something? Expected. Oh, do I have to define it like this? Wait. Oh, it's got to be. Okay, so for part 1 of why Alyssa doesn't love custom properties, they have to be defined inside of a selector. So you can't see how pink is just floating out there in the ether. You can't do that with these. You can't just one off. You have to actually, so I use root. I don't know if that's a hot take. I
feel like that's the standard, I would say.
I'm like, if that's a hot take, I give up.
I don't think that's a hot take.
Okay, cool. So I use root because it's a very base like level selector. It doesn't mean like I'm not very specific with it, right? I try to be very generic. And then I define my variables in here. And I think in this one, I'm going to grab, where is it? Where? Aha. I'm going to grab a bunch. And we're going to go back here and we're going to paste them in. So these are ways of, that didn't work. Let's just go ahead and manually do it. Defining variables with custom properties, which is just in CSS, right? We're not in a SASS file. And if you'll notice, we still have enabled SASS in our project here, because if we go to our Angular JSON, you'll see that it's it's still doing its thing. But this is still working, and this is fine. It's squiggling because I have 2 pinks. So we're going to get rid of my original one. So here, instead of saying like, let's for our H1, there's so many color variables. Let's get rid of this one. And actually, let's leave both of them. And here I'm going to say the $ pink, because that's how you plug that in. And then for the variable, it's not just -- pink, as I wish it was, but you actually have to wrap it in a var. And then it will go ahead and I don't know what this is. Oh, it wants me to sign in. It's like you're doing all these changes.
You can just close it, I think, with that X in the top right. I
can't see the X because of, hey, there, because the go-to webinar. Oh, that's right. I think this is the one that doesn't have an H1, right? No, it has an H1. Wait, yes, add component, H1, that's tour of heroes. Back here, let's see what we're doing wrong. Color, is it being overridden later on? I don't know, let's find out. Inspect. Because yes, we've defined pink here with -- we're using var. Let's see who's giving you styles. So it's not.
I think it needs a.
Oh my gosh, is it because
it's
of
a syntax issue?
I think. Oh, you think it's syntax? Because I think it's Angular.
Oh, maybe.
Let me test my theory, and then we'll keep debugging from there. Because I think this is where I always bring in view encapsulation. Because I told you all at some point. Yeah, at some point. Welcome to the show. So remember how I said the Angular likes to encapsulate the view based on components, and it's very like a safe bubble where people can do CSS that they probably shouldn't do because it completely breaks cascading. So here, I was trying to give styles to something that's outside of its purview. So it was just ignoring it. That variable didn't exist.
Oh.
So turning off view encapsulation then allows me to give styles to root. We could have probably said like, I want these variables under H1, right? And then continued to leave view encapsulation off. Yep, and it still works. So that's fun. If you are going this route, you will have a file that has all your variables in it. You will import that in here, whether it's a SASS variable sheet or whether it's just a CSS variable sheet, it doesn't matter. So you will import that in here, you will import it in your global file, and then from there, you'll start pulling in like the sizing or the coloring or whatever variables. And that style sheet, I believe, should have access to root. Let's actually go check out my red project. Yes, so here, this style sheet is being pulled into here, styles.scss. And I do believe we have at this level, because this is like the global style sheet, right? That we do have access to things like root. So I don't think you have to mess with view encapsulation, but you will often find, like I said, if you're specifically with UI inside of Angular and you're like, I know this should work. I don't know why it's not. I don't know why. I don't see anything, right? I don't see an error. Like you said, CSS doesn't really error. It's just silently not working. Try toggling that view encapsulation, and that might answer some questions to what's happening, especially when you start pulling in other libraries and you're trying to customize things or use them in new ways that have never been done before. So yes, that is we showed the custom properties and talked about view encapsulation in Angular and how to turn that off if you need to. CSS will have or has nesting. Do you know? Does it have it yet?
Ooh, I believe that has. I'm gonna look it up, and I'll tell you.
Because my guess is gonna say will, not has.
I feel like it does, but it's not fully supported everywhere. So yes, okay. the answer is like yes, asterisk. In that it is currently supported in the most recent versions of Chrome and Safari, but we don't yet have it for Firefox.
Okay.
or any number of smaller other browsers. So like,
Okay.
yeah. Yes.
Is that weird?
What weird?
Are we ever waiting on Firefox? That seems like a weird.
It really depends. Is the short answer. Safari has actually been doing a great job. They are now kind of leading the charge in several places, and so things like the new color defining methods in CSS actually Safari supports and almost no one else yet. So it really, it is truly just feature by feature.
Okay.
So now that IE is out of the picture.
Oh, for most of us.
Yeah. So now
There's
that
just
IE
someone
is
out
no
there.
longer being actively maintained. So we should not expect there to be anything, moving forward.
So I think honestly with because we're wrapping up the section about to do or not to do SASS. And obviously SASS, we never really got into the view encapsulation issues yet because we weren't needing root. And the syntax is cleaner. You just plop in $beetle instead of var parentheses dash dash beetle, right? Like, so it's a cleaner syntax, but is it enough? Are the mix-ins enough? I don't know. So there's really cool things like this. I believe I have my promise to you, my friends. I have a branch called Beginner UI, and I just broke her right before we went live. You're welcome. I don't know if I pushed the broken bits up, but I cannot render her for you. But this is the red one in my VS Code that I keep pulling things from. It's a little bit farther along. So if you go to the Beginner UI branch, you should see like that variables. If we go into source and then app, you'll see like that variables file and other things that I am doing. But so I think I have dark mode plugged in there, but essentially I'm going to walk you through the basics of like, here I have a dark mode variable and it is false by default. But if dark mode is true, right, set the background to black and primary to shell. And primary is like a step down a road that I don't know if people should go or not. It's a road that I go down because of things like this, but essentially it is a further obfuscation, obfusca, holy mother of, it's another masking of a variable. But for the purpose of like doing things where I want everything that is primary color. So primary for me would be like, maybe main copy and header color, or maybe text color on a button would get primary. Whereas like primary highlight might be like on hover, get primary highlight. And so in dark mode, because you oftentimes will inverse the color scheme, your primary highlight would go from like a dark highlight to a bright highlight, right? Or vice versa, depending on which mode you're in. And so that's where I like these things like primary or primary highlight or secondary. Kathryn, I was going to ask you though, like, have you moved away from this? What are your thoughts?
I don't really, it's not that I've moved away from it. I just haven't had occasion to use it recently. So
Okay.
I don't know. If I had to tackle this problem, I'm not sure how I would solve it today. But I agree, this isn't a bad way to do it. In general, I'm a big fan of code that is as human readable as possible. So like if you scan down the page and you're like, oh, so when we're in dark mode, my primary color becomes this. Like that to me makes a lot of logical sense. And I like to write code that looks like you could read it like a sentence. Right. So it appeals to me in that way.
Well, and something like this where everything, if we went through and took like an hour and made everything that should be primary, the primary variable, and it's black, and then we made the main things that are the background, whether it's the button background or the header background or the page background, actually gave it the background variable, it's very easy then to like flip into dark mode and like change this variable. And this is something that this is the last and final pillar of why do SASS? or I guess in this case, why not to do SASS. So we need, I deleted the the one where I was doing a variable. So I'm going to show you this app here, and we're going to change hero search. I'm going to put this over on the right side of the screen and plop it over here with my code. So let's go into the hero search, and right now I'm changing it to orange. Let's go ahead and use just custom properties to do that instead. And so we'll say blue, and it needs to go inside of root. So give me a second, and I'll make it. Is blue not a color? Is blue not a color? Root. Is it? I was like, blue's not a color. I'm gonna be like really, really impressed. Like, I have found a variable that does not exist. And remember, we have to turn off encapsulation, as one is ought to do with Angular. Encapsulation. Again, if you're just getting into the community and you want to blend in, do not pick that fight. This is Alyssa's hot take on what Angular has done wrong. I don't think Angular has done a lot of things wrong, but I see the reason why, but I also see like it just leads to some sloppy CSS. Okay, so not that one. What? Hero CSS. So now we have access to root. We made blue. Let's go ahead and give our label the variable or custom property of blue. So now it is blue. Excellent. I was teaching a point. What was the point? I'm going back to my doc. The point was, oh, the last reason why like, what was the point? So let's go and inspect this blue color. Oh, so good. So here in our console, you can see that label has color of var blue, right? This variable, after my page has been rendered, still exists. What happens if we go back to our search and we change it to what it was before? Save it, refresh. The variable does not exist. What does that mean for you? That means after the page is rendered, if you want to update that variable, you have to use custom properties. You have to use CSS. You cannot use SASS because SASS goes away after your page is rendered. Whereas if we go back and we bring back our variable, this variable is grabbable and modifiable with your JavaScript. And so you can do things with it after the page renders, right? So like on hover, var blue gets like violet, right? Or, you know, you can do weird stuff with it. And sometimes you need to do weird stuff. Not often, but sometimes. And so that's another reason, another checkbox in the custom properties over SASS. So yes, I think that nicely wraps up our SASS versus to SASS or not to SASS. That is the question. Oh yeah, new custom properties demo to show off persistence. Check in that doc. You can check this one out. I think this one walks you through actually grabbing and updating, because I wanted to like show that, like, refresh. So every time we refresh, these colors get changed. And I think that's just a, let's see, this one. Yeah, right here. So my Rudy root, I get funny sometimes. Sorry. You ever see like old stuff you wrote and you're like, that's funny?
Oh, absolutely. All the time.
So here I'm giving card. Each one of these is a card that's being generated on the fly with Angular, which is really, really cool. If you're new to Angular, here is an ng4, a loop, and it is creating, and I probably should have done, I don't know, a section or something, I don't know, but I'm essentially creating a new div, let card of cards. So for every single card in the array, create a new div, and it goes further, style the background color with this generate random color method. Okay, so what is that? Where is my, we go to generate random color, I have a random color that's being generated and plopped into this style sheet of the background color. And then I think I have here new color, and I think at some point I grab new color and like do something with it. Where is it? If not, oh yeah, down here. Haha, assigned random color. And then it's grabbing new color and doing something with it. I wanted to create a demo that actually showed grabbing those custom properties and doing something with them. So yes, that is every time you refresh the page, the cards get generated with new colors. There have been scenarios where I had to reach for this. This is obviously very random and contrived, but that is in this doc that I will yet again. If you go down, actually, can I grab the link to this one? Let's make this a header and then I can grab the link. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so she's gonna pass that over, and then I think we're ready for our faster paced, higher level, more speed Kendo UI. Yes, we have 50 minutes left in the workshop, and we are gonna dive into a UI library of mine and Kathryn's choice. We both work for Progress. Progress makes component libraries for .NET and for lots of different JavaScript things like React. I was like, what do we make? We React.
I love that you glossed over the ones that you and I use the most. You're like, .NET and I guess some JavaScript stuff.
Some JavaScript.
Yeah, I don't know. Angular,
you look at like our
Angular.
Yeah, you look at our .NET side though, and you're like, oh, there's so many products and things. But yes, Angular, React, Vue, jQuery, and I don't know why I just accidentally clicked on that button. So I'm gonna plop this in there too, in case you want to follow along, because we are going to upgrade, and that is one of the categories of best use of a Kendo UI component. These cards that I ripped violently their styles, so you can't even really tell that. I was like, goodbye. You can't even tell. Yeah. But I got rid of that center alignment on this, so you're welcome. Anyways, so we're going to use the card component, which is one of my favorite components. I think followed closely by like the skeleton component, maybe. So I think it might be time. Is it time? Oh, what's your favorite? What's your favorite component?
Oh, I wasn't ready for that. I should have been ready for that one. I was surprised.
I gotta find the right docs link because that one.
I do use the card quite a lot. I don't use the skeleton as much, but maybe I should. I think I like the charts.
The charts?
I love our charts.
I mean, there are a lot of charts. Kendo UI, this one? This one. I think this is the one. No, that's not the one. Hang on, everybody. I will find the right link. I just want to like go to our docs, and I have like, I'm sure I could navigate there. Grid on development. There we go. I'm like, you could use the nav, Alyssa. No, absolutely not. Okay, so when you're in our docs, and I can plop this in the chat, there are, so I like to start off to teach Kendo UI by explaining the mama wrappers. So what do I mean by mama wrappers? On this side over here, there are what seems like components, but they're not. They're not components. These are NPM packages that contain components. And so this is just how the team decided to group these. And one might be like, what? It's just a button. No, it's not a button. It's a button group, a chip list, a drop down, right? See, it goes on. So if you npm install or ng add, if you will, the Kendo UI for Angular buttons package, you will receive these 7 beautiful ladies, right? And then you can use them, etc., etc. So what we are going to do is go into layout. Yes, I'm on develop branch, by the way, BT dubs. I don't know if you can see that up here. Develop is like what they're currently working on. Does potentially have bugs. I don't know. You can just take that out of the URL if it makes you uncomfortable. Here is my husband's like cooking something in the kitchen, and I get wafts of like, I'm like, is that lasagna? What is happening in there? Okay.
Like garbage truck is going by. I've been like toggling mute on aggressively as I try to like not make you guys listen to the garbage man picking up everything on our stream.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I take road noise over like food assault. Like
I cracked the window a little bit, which is maybe also a mistake after the yellow jacket incident. But it's so nice out.
Okay, so underneath each one of these mama component package wrapper bits, you can go to the getting started page. And if you scroll down, there's like live demos that you can play with these things. There are, I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so we're not so tight on the page. There's the quick setup, which uses the ng add command. And right here, you can copy this code. If you are Stackblitz, we're going to have to do a Stackblitz version of this. If you are working in your terminal or in your command prompt, go ahead and copy the code for Kendo Angular layout. And I can, if you have not pulled up the docs, there is the command. Where did I just type that? I definitely didn't type that in the messages. If I just privately messaged you with that, I apologize. It wasn't meant to target you. There's also a manual setup. So sometimes people have feature modules, like we mentioned earlier, where instead of, let's go ahead and open up our VS Code and just show you, instead of a singular app module, right, that's a decorator on our app like class, our app module class, that's kind of bootstrapping our application. Some people have the app module, but then they also have a dashboard module, a hero detail module, a hero search module. What that means is that they have finer control over like where dependencies are being injected and included. But what that means for you, if you ever work on an Angular project like that, is that you would have to do something like this manual setup. So the ng add command is actually doing these steps for you. It's running this npm install of not only the Angular layout from Kendo, but the internationalization, Angular Common, right? It's all the things that it needs in order to make the components inside of layout work. So it's going to run that command, but you have to do that manually if you have feature modules or maybe some other specific weird Angular setup, or maybe you just don't like the CLI and you don't want to run the ng add command. So it will do that. It will also add the module into the layout package, exports the following components, and it's going to add that into your imports. So just go through the docs. If you need to do the manual import, follow the steps. It's super easy, but I always use ng add. Let's go to Stackblitz, because I know quite a few of you are on the Stackblitz, because we need to figure it out. I think what we're going to do is, there's a way, Kathryn, do you remember? There's a way to add dependencies. Yeah. I think there's like a console.
You should on the left-hand sidebar, if you scroll all the way down, there should be a dependencies thing. So, yeah. Yep, and then at the bottom, open that and scroll all the way down. Enter package name.
Kendo Angular, and I don't know if it needs like the full. Do you think it needs the full one, or do I just do that? Let's find out.
I would do
unable to find.
I couldn't get it out fast enough.
Man, that mystery lasagna sure smells good.
Okay. Now I want lasagna.
I know, right? It's like literally like noon my time. Who eats lasagna for lunch? What kind of monster? It's just the weirdest. That's a dinner time.
I would eat lasagna for lunch.
You would?
Absolutely, in a heartbeat. You kidding me? I just ate the world's saddest, fastest like jam sandwich on that 10-minute break. I would destroy a lasagna right now.
I have these Lunchables in my fridge for when I'm in need. And I looked at this 300-calorie Lunchable and I was like, I don't think I can do it in 10 minutes. And so I went and I just got an apple. So that was, I like that you sandwiched. You had time to make and eat a sandwich, or was this pre-made?
No, I made it. But again, I want to emphasize sandwich is a generous term for what happened, because it was a smear of blueberry jam between 2 slices of bread.
Oh, okay. That's a lot of bread ratio for filling, but
it was.
let it go.
It was 50% of a peanut butter and jelly. So.
So amazingly enough, if you're on the Stackblitz tittles and you want to do this, it's just the last part of that ng-add command. And I entered that in here and it's saying unmet peer dependencies, which is beautiful and freaking amazing because these are the exact list that we just saw
What you need.
in our docs from the manual setup. That's exactly what we need. So God bless Stackblitz. Go ahead and allow it. Let's go back over here. Install them all. Yes. Just say yes. Don't say no. Just say yes.
Just
Okay.
say yes to dependencies.
And you know you're in good when you see ngcc, which is going away soon. To the dismay of our team, but it's fine. We're going to be fine. It's like a polyfill type bridge thing that we were using for a while.
Oh, okay. I was like,
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
My team was like very anxiously awaiting me to tell them like when exactly. Like they were like, but when? And I'm like, So now we have the card component and you have it installed either locally with ng-add, which I need to do, or you have it in your Stackblitz. Let's go to this, what do you call this? Let's go to the terminal if you're following along at home. ng-add, @progress, Kendo, Angular, layout. And we have nothing else from Kendo, right? Like this is a very bare bones project. It's the same one we've been working in all morning or evening, depending on where you are. So now it's going to go ahead and install, I think it was it 7? And so it's like, would you like to proceed? It's going to install it. And it's like, but didn't I just tell you to do that? I don't know why.
That is, in fact, exactly what I would like you to do. Yeah.
Maybe it's like double checking the version, like, wait, you didn't tell me what version. Oh, heavens forbid. We got npm errors. Okay, let's see what we did wrong. Package installation failed. But it worked on the other machine. Okay, I think it's
just do it with force. You just have you have dependency issues.
I forgot about. Did you see me forget my dependency issues for one hot second? I was like, it's okay. We're gonna be fine. We're gonna be fine. Yes, install 11.6 sounds dandy to me. Oh, it's failing. Okay, we might have to like move on and Stackblitz. Because I don't know. If you're in the chat and you've gotten past this, please let us know. But so it looks like, I think it's because it found TypeScript 5.0, but there is a peer dependency. See, this is the part where like it never makes sense to me, Kathryn. It's like, yeah. But you need is that greater than? Yeah, that's greater than. Yeah. Bigger than or equal to 2.7, which in fact, I do have, but maybe I don't know. Maybe they're like, you've gone too far.
I simply will not play with dependency errors. I will nuke the entire.
Nuke it. I like it. I like it. When we did that ng-add, I'm wondering, is it in our package? I'm gonna give myself two minutes to fix this, and if not, we're just moving on.
Okay, I was gonna say I would just move over to the Stackblitz, honestly, just because we have 40 minutes left.
It's already working. Yes. Let's see. This is package. I want to see if it added it here. I don't see it. Let's go back over to our Stackblitz. It is working. Let me go ahead and sign in with GitHub. It worked. Excellent. Yes, I will do my own fork. Wait a minute. Oh, I'm getting more text messages. I swear you would think my entire family does not work. Based on how many text messages I get during that. I'm like, don't you all have jobs? Okay. We forked it. We're going to say live workshop. And then progress 2023. Oh man, do you all like remember the year? Because homegirl here does not. Like hardcore, I'm always like 22, 24, 89. I don't know. Like I'm really always at a loss. Okay, so you should be able to like fork this version if you so please, if it pleases you. Let's go to, we want to use the card component. So we're going to go into source app. And then I think these buddies live in dashboard. I think that's where we decided they live. They do. And in fact, it is what we call div hell. I apologize my language if it's inappropriate to cuss. But this is what we call a div inside of a div inside of a div, and that's not what you want ever. So
I've always heard that as like div soup, but I think I actually like div hell more.
Div soup. Soup is so much more kosher though. I should have gone that direction. You're right. So we're gonna go and do Alyssa's favorite thing ever. I do this not only with our docs, but with anybody's docs. So if you do this, don't worry, it's not weird. I go to the docs and I make them not so freakishly large and I view the source code and I'm like, hello, Kendo.
This is the way.
And then I plucketh it and I go about my day and I customize it. But what we're going to want to do, there's a lot of different versions of our card because you can mix and match and pull in different elements. So I want to pick one that's kind of close. What about layout? Layout. Ooh, I like that one. That one makes me happy. Okay. So where does the card end? You know, I'm always asking myself that. This one is so chunky. Did I make a mistake?
There's a lot in that guy.
Holy mother of card. Look at how long this thing is. Okay.
That was a big old card.
Let's go to building blocks and pick a simpler card. I don't know why that card's so chunky. Basic card. Yes, this is like, okay, that's
a card.
Card. Yeah, like, okay, let's copy this one.
Yeah, that's a card. That other one was a book.
Listen, you can pretty much do what you please with our components. I have seen.
No, it is really nice that they are that flexible and they can accommodate so much information, but like, dang.
Okay, we got an error, which I think I'm like, I remember this error. Do I need to? It's saying Kendo card is not a known element. When we ng added it to.
Do we have to import it? My Angular is rusty.
See, I feel like the add command takes care of that, but we didn't do the add command. We did the manual.
We put it directly.
We did the manual steps, but I didn't actually do the manual steps. So let's go back to
CLI. So I think.
So the first step is the install, which you saw us do the install and it asked about the missing dependencies and we installed those. The next step, if you need all the layout components in your application, import all inputs. We just want the card for now. I know like avatar though is commonly used inside of card. So let's go ahead.
Add all of it.
Add them all. Okay. So let's go down to, we need to add layout module to, where's my code? There's my code. App component, imports. I always get confused. Is it an import? I think it's an import.
It's an import, I think. Again,
and then I think I should be able to like command period it and like import it like that. So I did.
Ooh.
When it squiggles in your imports or providers or what have you, you can command period. And this works in Visual Studio Code too, if you're going that route and you got it to work. But I'm importing there and I will work on that. The dependencies errors, have no fear. Okay, so I put that there. We imported from progress, singular layout, cannot find layout module. Let's go and make sure I actually put it in the proper spot of imports.
Wait, no, I think I saw it render as you moved away.
Did it?
I think it was just taken. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think it just taken a minute to like process.
Yeah, weird. You're right.
So
that's weird. Okay.
It was just thinking. It was churning.
So it's no longer grumpy at us for using in the dashboard the Kendo card, but it's also not rendering our heroes. So I see down here we've got 2 errors in our console. So let's pop that open. Uncaught error, looks like dependencies use I18N. Angular 9 introduces a global localized function. Please run. So I'm thinking we need to figure out how to run things. Can I just do it?
That's weird that that's what's hanging it up though, because that's just internationalization stuff.
Oh, so you think that's just like erroring, but not? Let's double check this real quick. Make sure there's not like a third step. The next step is to style the components by installing one of the Kendo UI themes. So we will install one of those themes, but that wouldn't stop us. And then you can just use the components. So
well, maybe that is hanging it up.
Where
It's being
is
corrected.
the, well, I'm wondering too, I'm like, is that why locally I'm having issues? I really think there's a, what is this?
No. Oh, maybe.
A little, what do you call it? Mode. A, should I, or is this crazy, grab my package JSON from here, you know, to like move forward with my other
You
one?
could try. I
Yeah,
was just
let's
gonna
try.
add that. Right, it just wants you to add Angular localize, so I would throw that in
Oh,
the
right. So I
dependencies
just
here.
add it here instead of, yeah, right, right. That makes sense too. Woof. Okay. It wants, what was it called? Add Angular slash,
Add Angular / localize.
okay. Add Angular, make you spell it right, localize. Installing the dependencies, running ngcc. That's a good sign. That's a good sign. Is it? Okay.
It's reloading and
Oh, all right.
well,
What is wrong? What is wrong? Scroll up. Looks like dependencies using, it's the same thing. But didn't we just do that?
well, we only did the first thing, right? It says please
Oh,
run
did
this
we?
from
And
the
add
Angular
localize from the Angular, and add import localize in the, wait, I need this to be bigger. To your polyfills TS. Oh my gosh, reading the whole thing, it's like crazy. All right, here's my polyfill. I'm gonna copy this because I'm feeling lazy. And then I need to go to my polyfills, and then can you be smaller? And I'm sure it's like one of these that I could just uncomment, maybe not. So we're just gonna put it under here and get rid of that and get rid of that and save and be like, look, I did a thing. I put it
There
in
we
the
go. See the
polyfill.
cards? The cards are back.
What? Okay. Close that. Excellent. Close the polyfills. If you are following along, you need this import in your polyfills. And you need to install, well, first, I believe, well, I don't know if the order actually matters. Install localize in your little dependency bits. Okay, so let's check it out. So we have the cards, which are the old ones. I haven't gotten rid of those yet. And then this card, we actually need to install the last step of, should I go default? I don't really just love Bootstrap.
Yeah, I think we go. I think we go default.
It's not
The
my
Kendo
favorite.
default theme is cute. I
That's
like
cute.
it.
I gotta find that dependency input. There we go. This one. So we're gonna install, but also apparently include, because once you install, I assume you have to reference, or maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. You know who would know? An old project of mine would know. If I have to include the theme, like an app
Yeah,
component or something,
well, in the
or no?
docs, it offered a couple different ways to do that, right?
Okay. I just, again, totally glossed over what the docs was trying to tell me. Theme package installed, reference it in your project. You can include the theme in your project with one of the different ways. I've done it many different ways. Like, let's pull up that. Which one do you do?
In this situation, I would maybe suggest the external CDN link because then it'll just pull it in from the link. And since we're working in Stackblitz,
Perfect.
that might be easiest.
So that means, did I get there? Yes, from the source file. Wait, no, this is the other one. No, we want this one, please. There. So the simplest way to paste the CDN link is the head of your element, the head element of your page. So let's copy this, go to our Stackblitz and find, we're going to close the polyfill because we're done with her for now. The head element is going to be, should be here. No, this is tricky. The head element of your
like
Angular.
your index. Yeah.
Yes. And then does it matter where? Should we just plop it in the bottom? What's that link? Favicon? I don't think it matters. I think as long as.
And the only thing you need is the default, right?
Yes.
Then you can
Material
ditch the
Fluent.
rest.
Oh yeah, Fluent. I forgot all about Fluent. Do you ever use Fluent?
I haven't yet. I haven't. I end up doing so much that just does like custom styling that I honestly haven't had a chance to play with a lot of our like preset themes.
I feel like Fluent's like for people who are like already theming with that though, right? Like it's similar to like Material.
Just kind of the same as like Material, right? So it's like if you are doing other stuff that are using the Fluent theme, this can make everything look really cohesive. It does look really cute. But mostly I start with our default and I customize.
So I want to verify that we actually have the styles because our component doesn't look like, it looks like it's missing bits, but I'm wondering if it's because what'd you say?
I don't think you've saved the index file yet.
Oh.
I don't know that will fix it, but that is definitely a prerequisite.
Definitely a prereq. Okay, so I've saved the CDN link. Let's actually go look at that dashboard component. He is this one.
Yeah, and maybe give that like a little hard refresh and see how it goes. Since we
can we hard
updated
refresh
something outside the realm of the live update.
Or maybe I like hard refresh the whole page. Is it maybe a better way of doing it? Because I don't know if that's that actually.
I too like to live dangerously.
Well, it said it's saved. Okay, while that's pulling up, because I want to actually show you. Oh, there it is. I want to show you, and I hope, because I'm in a time of, I apologize, I'm in a time of flux where I'm deciding to update all of my projects at once. So I think this will serve up. So I have and I referenced it in that doc that I shared with you all, but I have an app that I took even further. And maybe this will inspire you for what you're wanting to do. I'm going to let that serve up and show you this again, because talking about the data set, whenever I originally started redoing this application myself, I just didn't like really, heroes didn't mean anything to me. And so I changed it to ponies. And this application, every time we have an update quarterly for Kendo UI, I try to add our new components in. So as you can imagine, she's got a lot of components going on. And I call her
the tour ponies.
Tour ponies. And so if there's anything, I don't see anything broken yet, but if there's anything broken, I've got dependency woes with everything, but I'm fixing it. So here we have our top heroes, and these are actually Kendo UI cards. And if I go ahead and I inspect her, I can show you. Maybe a little bit less. Thank you, darling. So here you see the Kendo card, and I have the card header here that has the information and then the image of the actual pony. And then on hover, I'm adding just like this cute little animation. It's not intimidating. Let us look at it. So image, here you see, boop, boop. I need to do hover. On hover, you see that I say top 90 pixels. So apparently this was back in the day that I found positioning acceptable. So I am positioning the ponies and then on hover giving them a different top so that they move up. But there are, I think, there's a lot of different ways you could do this, but that's how I did it with her. If you want to check out the chunky codes, I'm going to pull up this and show you. I have it pinned here. It's this one, Kendo UI Tour of Hero Reusable. And then I think this is the beginner UI and Angular. This one I think is like a more further advanced version of what we are working on. So check that out. It's got a lot of fun examples of using Kendo UI to upgrade your UI, because furthermore, I'll show you, I haven't perfected it. But when you go to an individual heroes page, oh, and the loading is slow because if that bothers you, you can go and change it, and I think it's in the Angular JSON. where I've specified how slow to load the data. But if you click on a pony, I've got to fix this header part here, but you saw in action, I'll reload, the skeleton component that's saying, look, stuff is coming, it's loading, we promise, right? It's just one of the loading indicators, and I love her. But one of my other loves, and maybe it's like a really weird love, is our list view. I know that's weird, but I love our list view. So here is the list view in like her normal know nothing form. And then here is the same list view, but we have paging enabled, and we've got like this header and this tiny footer. But then if you go down, here is the list view yet again. That's all the same Kendo UI component with varying degrees of customization, right? And so this is using like our internal, like, yeah, go ahead and use that, like that pager, right, on the bottom footer. Whereas this is saying, just use custom goods, right? And let me show you the custom goods. So I'm really excited to see what you all create. And if you fill out the form for a prize, I will make an email tomorrow and kind of include screenshots of the winners, and I'll make sure to BCC everybody so your email is still private, but that way you can kind of see like who won and what happened. I'm going to go ahead and actually, so I don't lose, because sometimes if you open up, I've got a VS Code shortcut where I'm like, because, you know, Eric, earlier you were asking like, wow, what do I open up? I'll like VS Code and dot, and that's like a little shortcut that I've built to open up VS Code. But if you have multiple projects open, it's much better to go and say new window, and that way it doesn't blow those away if you want to keep them open. So I'm going to go ahead and open up our Kendo UI developments and Kendo UI Tour of Heroes, and we're going to make that main. And I was going to show you very briefly, I decided, because in our application that we've been working on, they're all just right inside app. And I decided I couldn't live like that anymore, because as the project grew, imagine like finding files that belong together, it was becoming a headache. So here I included hero card, and I actually have 2 different versions of the card, so you can uncomment that one if you want to see it. But this is where I included that image that I'm animating. And if you go here, you can see, yes, TS config. You can see like that image on hover, that super simple animation that I'm doing here. And then I was going to show you, what was I showing you? Some component. Oh, right, the list view. So I think the list view is here in the list view component. Shocking, I know.
Makes sense.
I know. I actually have a ton of other versions of the list view because I just love it that much, but it just goes to show like the different variations that you can go. If you scroll all the way down, you'll see the pageable list view. If you keep going, you'll see a lot of different versions that I have commented out. I decided 3 is what we can finally go with. Like that's the right answer. But here you see NG template, and that is super, super duper important. Our docs will walk you through this sometimes when you want to do something custom, or you want to mix and match our components maybe in a unique way, or not so unique way. There's a lot of our components, like our grid, right, that utilizes a lot of our other components internally. But here, this is a way of saying, I'm doing a little custom template, right? NG dash template is like an Angular thing. But then you're going and you're putting that inside of a Kendo UI, like the Kendo UI list view. And then I'm doing the custom, right? This is where I'm building out those super custom cards. And you can check out, you see here that I have, as I mentioned, on hero card, he's just a CSS component, right? He's kind of pretty basic, pretty chill. Look, I'm using host even, right? Or I'm talking to that host selector. But then in the list view, I felt the need to import my colors.scss. And yes, I am a bit obsessive when it comes to variable files. So I have a colors one, and then I think I have is it in assets? Yes, it's in assets. I put colors, and I also have fonts and variables that can be pulled in at will as you need them. But yes, so I decided for list view, because I was doing a lot of custom stuff. I wanted to go ahead and make it SCSS. wanted to import my colors. And then if you like scroll down, you can, I hopefully made it to where you can kind of find out the funky stuff that I'm doing to make these styles happen. But this one's a very over the top, exaggerated example of how you can theme. And I know Kathryn has a Star Trek example that it just shows the power of just these components and how custom you can go. So let's see, we are 20 minutes from the top. I want to see if there's any questions, and I'm going to go back into our original, like what we were going to learn today, and see if I need to cover anything else. But I would love to see.
I've been keeping an eye on the chat. I have not seen any new questions come in, although now is certainly the time as we, I think, begin to work towards wrapping up. So if there's anything that you want to see that we haven't shown, if you have any questions, if you have anything, curiosity, drop them in the chat. Now's your chance.
Yes. So at the bottom, I have that demo here. And then I also wanted to, I linked in Quit It. I linked in, it goes to, if you scroll to the sample Angular applications, I know Ponies isn't like for everybody's needs. So we have some more professional looking apps that show off our components being used. And so I think this link here, the 2 demo links, that one is the Ponies. And if you want to like clone it down or fork it or what have you, or even run it in Stackblitz, and then just ng serve it if you're running it locally, then you can check out Ponies. Otherwise, you can see our sample applications. So Kendo UI Advanced, I was going to try to fix, I will this afternoon fix, push up a fix for the, let me show you on GitHub so that you're all like, what is she talking about? And if I go to Alyssa Nicoll and then I go to our workshop repos. So Angular Tour of Heroes is the one that I forked from John Papa, and I'm trying to keep up to date because that original fork is like 7 versions behind or something. But as I keep it up to date, there are a lot of deprecations. Like for instance, Protractor is no longer a thing. So I need to delete that. But as you can imagine, we're not doing a ton of testing anyways. So I'm going to push up an update to the master branch of this if you wanted to do that in your terminal, but otherwise just keep chug-a-lugging with Stackblitz. Thank God for that, right? Let's see. I'm trying to see if there's any other things we can. I want to go and customize this in Stackblitz if not. So let's go and check out our card component. And I'm actually going to steal from our Ponies because I have a card that I've written and I'm pretty happy with. Although she points to an image that I'm going to have to. Can you upload images here? I don't know.
No, but I bet you can find a photo of a pony that has already been uploaded. Just go snag one from like, what's the like wiki? What's the My Little Pony wiki? I'm sure one exists.
My Little Pony. We do this. My Little Pony. All right, well, will we get errors though if we like just grab, like for instance, like if we just go to images and we just like grab one, like copy the link?
I mean, it's like linking to another website, right? I mean, it's just hosted somewhere else.
Okay, let's do it. It
should be fine.
Go here, go to our...
Setting aside like copyright issues and things that mean you can't do that in real life. From a technical standpoint, it will work. It's not like a good practice, but you can totally do that.
So I made my own custom pipe in that project. So we're just gonna, it doesn't exist in this project. So we're just gonna delete
for folks that are super new to Angular, what's a pipe?
Oh, let's just talk about pipes. So here, pipes are a way of manipulating data. Can you use pipes in components? I only ever have used them in templates. So I'm trying to think. I assume you could call a pipe from a component, but they're really cool because you can here, I made an ellipsis pipe and she's somewhere. I think it's Command T, ellipse, no. Yes, I shall find her. How do you search over here? There's a way. no, I want to find the ellipsis pipes, inside of pipes, because I only have one. And so she's a way of manipulating data. I use her in the template to, in this specific example, I'm saying the hero residence, I grabbed this data from a random My Little Pony database, and the residences can be quite varying and lengthy, like a sentence for a residence. And I was like, oh, good Lord. So it was kind of breaking on the card. And so I just said, okay, after this many characters, go ahead and add an ellipsis. And so the pipe is inlining that. And so this, of course, is saying, we do not know of such pipes. And I'm like, yes, because you don't have the data. Actually, I wanted to show that. I'm so glad we're talking about that. This demo application used something called in-memory data. And if you open up in-memory data service.ts, this is where you can find the heroes listed out. And if you want to enter to win a prize and you're a little overwhelmed with the UI part of it, just entering your own custom data here that populates will put you up to win that one, because I think one of the categories is most interesting data set. But if we go to ponies, you can see I've done, where's
That's my chance to make everything Star Trek themed again at last.
Finally. Ah, there she is. So I wasn't kidding. Like I gave credit because it was, I stole it, but this, I wasn't kidding when it was like lengthy, right? So this I know. So this is the data that and I'm gonna just copy it over, that I went with for the ponies. And then let's scroll all the way up and see if, so I don't think I broke it too horribly much. I still left like ID and name, although I see these cards are broken. So let's go and fix dashboard. We've got 10 minutes. Let me know if you have questions, darling. Excited to see what you come up with, what you customize for yourselves. So again, customizing the data set and in-memory data, creating custom UI, whether you include SASS and try that out for the first time and put color theming variables in the variables file and use that, right? That all counts as something you can enter. Or what was the last one? Oh, the best use of a Kendo UI component. Yeah, if you want to go grab, maybe it's a card, maybe it's not, a Kendo component and show a screenshot of you using that, then that totally counts. Let's see what is going on with, yes, we have errors. Excellent. Cannot read properties of undefined ID. Do we have a number? Like a,
because it's looking for like, what? Where is it calling an ID? On line 11. It's looking right, and you had like names and stuff, right?
Yeah,
or was it?
I should still have.
There's just no mismatch.
I should still have IDs though, right? Let me see.
Yeah.
Let's go and do where. Oh, let's go to my this real quick and check out on my hero card. So I've got my hero card here. He's pulling hero.id. Did I do anything special? Oh, yeah. I actually got the heroes. But I should be getting the heroes in this app too. I should still be, if we go to dashboard, I should still be saying, here are the heroes, and we are getting the heroes. I don't know. I wonder if the slice is breaking it though. Subscribe, blah. So let's just go ahead and like equals this.heroes, like do that maybe. Stop the slicing. And then I know, actually dashboard component, let's go back to this one. I apologize, I'm like all over the place. Usually I have a bit more time for us to build this out. Dashboard, this one, let's see. So I'm calling this .get heroes on a init, and then I am subscribing. I'm filtering the heroes by large avatar, but that should still work. So I'm just gonna like see if we can get away with, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what breaks. Cannot find module hero. Yeah. So for those of you who are new to Angular, I need the hero TS. So this is me defining what a hero will consist of. Right? So I'm saying a hero is the class of hero is going to have an ID. It's going to have a name, right? And not only that, but that ID is going to be a number. That name is going to be a string. And this, of course, only matters on the TypeScript side of things, but this is so that I can type something as a type of hero. And then the hero services are where you do a lot of CRUD actions. You could do that in your component, in the component TypeScript file, but it's very much frowned upon, and you're encouraged to move it into a service file.
So what do you mean by CRUD actions?
Oh yeah. So whenever you are doing something with a database, whether it's creating something new in a database, or you're reading something from a database, you're updating an existing item, or you're deleting an item. And so often that's referred to as CRUD. And so like get heroes, that's just a read. I'm just asking for the heroes from my database. Whereas let's say add a hero, right? That's like creating a new one and deleting hero, deleting, and then updating. And so this is a really good example that of all of those actions happening, but then also using a little bit of RxJS in this hero service. So highly recommend if you're new to that side of life to check out the hero service.typescript in the Kendo UI tour of heroes repo that's pinned on my GitHub. But if we go to the reason that Stackblitz is yelling at us is because I am trying to import hero, which is that type, and I'm trying to import the hero service, and it doesn't have either one of those. So I can go ahead and add those as long as we don't have questions. I can keep chug-a-lugging. It looks like we do have a hero. We already have the hero class, but it's a simplified version because our data was very, very basic. So let's copy over our less simplified class, and we can delete that funky function that I'm not using. AV. There we go. And the question mark here means these are optional because some of the ponies just didn't have an alias, but some did. So let's go to our hero service. Do we not have a hero service? Do we not? We do. We do have one. So I think the path is just wrong. So let's go to our dashboard component and see what's going on. Oh yeah, the dot dots. Mother of God. So there's this so there's this deprecation that happened. Our application used to have relative path linking enabled, which allowed you to do this. You are no longer allowed to do this. So we just get rid of a dot. I know, it's absurd. It's absurd. It's fine. It's fine. We usually, we find the deprecations and we fix it and then we move on and we're heroes ourselves, right? Okay, so we've imported those. I'm still not getting data though on these, and I still do have 3 errors. Cannot read property of ID, undefined. I'm wondering if which would be really weird, but I'm wondering if some of my heroes don't have IDs. Like, can I make that optional? I feel like that's required. Yeah.
I feel like you need an ID.
I'm right there with you. Let's see. I wonder, why are you? Because it's getting.
So what's the error say?
Oh, it said that cannot read properties of undefined, reading ID. I'm wondering, I do wonder,
So it's not loading the heroes, right? Like it's
kind
looking
of
for whatever dot ID.
Because look, we've got 6 of these, and I think I have 6 that are marked for top. So let me go see our HTML up top, the one that I haven't deleted yet. Maybe actually, let's comment this out real quick. And okay, so we are still getting it so it's from the new stuff. So if we have let hero of heroes, and then we go through and we create the clicking link, hero name, let's just print out hero, nothing. Name, let's get rid of this link and let's comment out this because we should be getting. Yay!
There it is.
Okay, so we've got some names here, and of course we're still in this beautiful theme that we've got. But I've repopulated heroes with the ponies, and it's going through and pulling out these ponies. I need to like debug further and figure out. I wonder what's going on with the hero ID, but I do have it working over on the GitHubs if you want to pull that one down. On this one right here, I should put like a pony or something in the description so it's easily findable. Okay, do we have time? What are we doing? Because I was gonna.
We are just about out of time. It's okay. 3 minutes till.
Let's go ahead and get rid of, because I think it's just this link that's messing up.
Mm-hmm.
So if I get rid of the link that's wrapping the whole card, and then I save it, and it's still angry. And does anybody want ID here?
I don't see anything.
Am I pointing to anything? Yeah. I'm pointing to an image that doesn't exist. Get rid of the image, thank you. But I bet you it's still, reading. Oh, name of undefined. So it doesn't have any hero information. I think it's because there's two different, I remember this. There's two different heroes. Because right here we're looping through heroes and we're only getting 6. It's because there's like a shortened heroes list that was being overridden, I think. So, oh no, I was filtering all of the heroes and setting it based on if it has a large avatar. So if it has a large avatar, it gets to be a top hero. So I would need to go ahead and set, let's see, get heroes, this.hero service. I'm wondering if I need to like grab heroes outside of that filtering. Sorry, we're at 2 minutes. 2 minutes from the top. Okay. We don't have time to debug. I digress, but I hope you enjoyed this workshop. I hope you had fun and that you learned something of UI or something of Angular. Kathryn and I both do shows. She's does a React show on Wednesdays, and I do a JavaScript Girl show occasionally on Tuesdays, but I've been leaning more heavily into creating Angular Air every Friday, and I'm actually going to be on this Friday on YouTube, Angular Air with Sonder, and we're going to be talking about SSR and the future of server-side rendering in frameworks like Angular and others. So I'm really, really excited because I feel like the pendulum is definitely moving back in that direction. So I know, right? Fill out the form for prizes. The link is in the top of this document. DM me on Twitter. I'm at Alyssa Nicoll if you have any questions at all. And then the resources for links that we've talked about during this workshop are at the bottom. But that is the top of the hour, and I think that's all I have for you. So as long as there's no impending questions, I don't see. I'm looking. Let's see. Oh, case sensitive chat. I'm going to try that. I'll see if that fixes it. But I will push up something that is a bit cleaner on the dependency sides for that. But thank you all for being here. And thank you, Kathryn, for helping me today. You've been amazing. Yes. All right. I'm ending it now. Good night, darlings.